Choose Your Own Adventure. And let me tell you just how bad I was at Choose Your Own Adventure. I would just answer the questions and get to the end of the book. Yeah,
you cheated at Choose Your Own Adventures.
We went out to eat today, and my wife was like, why are you just staring out the window? And I told her I was thinking about the bushes out there, but really I was thinking about pirate ships. All right. What's up, everybody? It's the Dukes of Blather. I'm Sam. That's Wick and Scott. We are the three Generation Xers that talk about everything going on in the world today from our view. Can't always be publicly, politically correct, but we do our best. Don't forget that our show is brought to you by Invictus Clinic in Woodstock, Georgia. They offer help to patients with major depressive disorders, postpartum depression, bipolar depression, OCD, PTSD, and severe anxiety. Severe depression takes a huge toll on your everyday life, and ketamine therapy offers a chance to find hope again. Many patients have tried numerous oral medications, but have found little to no relief, as well as difficult to tolerate side effects. Ketamine treatment is highly effective and safe. It's time to get off harmful medications and start living again. If you're in pain, get help from the Invictus Clinic in Woodstock, Georgia. Give them a call. Tell them that the Dukes of Blather sent you at 770-850-1042. Please get help if you need it. I hope everybody's doing great. What a awesome week. I had a pretty awesome week. Scott, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Doing great. Good.
Great. Questioning I'm questioning the Ebenezer Scrooge nightgown outfit, but we'll talk about that later. You guys.
Okay. We'll approach that topic as we get to it. Wick, how are you doing, sir?
I'm confused now.
I know. I don't know how I'm going to get to that. I don't know how we're going to circle back to that, but we'll do it.
I didn't either. I don't know how we're going to circle to it at all.
Yeah,
we're going to be.
This was my plan.
Are you wearing a gown?
Yeah, I think we all should one show.
I'll wear a gown,
like with a bed hat, and
that is my biggest thing. And like, you can just wear the hat.
I never understood myself the bed hat.
No, me neither. That is what I'm talking. That's basically what I want to talk about.
Fall off your head as you contort and twist.
Why do you wear it in the first place? Why is it a cone that lays to the side?
Yeah, I think it's for warmth.
Why does it have a ball on the end of it? I don't know.
These things are. I don't know. This show.
But was it a fad?
No, I think everybody did it then.
Nightgowns? Yeah, I think
it got so cold at night.
Okay, but why a gown? Was it to hide boners or? And also like the hat, was it to hide your hairline? Because guys,
I think it was to enhance
insecure about their hairline back then. Huh?
I think it was to enhance boners.
Because it really would. Because you would have a tent. You would really have a tent. You know, it wouldn't be like, because your jeans pretty strong.
Well, this show is going great already. Wick, let's get back on track. Wick, what'd you do this week? Anything special?
No, nothing.
Oh God, please, so we can get out of this. Okay. I needed you to say something really great, like you went to the Grand Canyon or something, or stopped a murder. All right. So what happened this week? I got to apologize to a friend. Actually, I kind of messed up, but I didn't really mean to. So I got this friend Andy. I've been friends with him a long time. He's one of my great friends. Yeah.
Okay.
So Andy. I didn't want to say last name, but I appreciate that, Scott. Again, the show's
whoa. Yeah, my
bad.
Anyway,
it's okay.
I didn't know that was I forgot that was your thing. No,
it's okay. It's okay. It's not anything bad. But I got to apologize to Andy because my friend Andy and Andy hit me up, said, hey, do you want to go to lunch? I get the pleasure every once in a while to do that with him. It's always fun to catch up because we got busy lives and kids and everything's going on. I said, yeah, let's go eat. And we go to like 3 places, and we decided to go to one Chinese place, which was only open for delivery, which I thought was weird. Then we went to another Chinese place that was open for only delivery. We went to another place that was packed. This is Friday about 12, of course. So finally we ended up at a Mexican place. Anyway, have a great time. We sit down. We're having a good conversation. And I am the type of person that gives bro hugs, okay? We're going to do the mid-chest hand to hand. I'm going to put it out there. You're gonna reach out.
Then
You're
you
gonna
then you pull him in for the full.
I'm going to
embrace.
pull you in. That's right. I'm going to pull you in. I'm going to tap. Okay. So we're going to leave, and I do the mid chest reach out, bro handshake. He feels a little hesitant for a minute, but he gives in, and we connect, bro to bro, pull him in, tap. I'll talk to you soon. So I go back to work. I'm doing my thing, get in the car to go home.
Sounds like a Curb Your Enthusiasm already.
No, I get in the car. I'm driving down the road. I'm halfway home, and I look in the mirror, and I have the biggest zit on the side of my neck. And I'm like, I just pulled my bro in for a hug right on top of that whitehead.
Get a good look at
Andy,
this.
I'm so sorry. I mean, like, I now I understand. It felt like I kind of put it out there. You're like, I don't really want to do this. And I brought you right in on it, man, up close and personal. And he bro hugged the neck zit. I'm so sorry. I feel horrible about that. My hopes is that you really didn't recognize that, and then just don't like me by the time we were done eating lunch, and that's what that was. Because I'm
did y'all converse about this later, or is this the first time?
No, I've not. No, it's too embarrassing. I'm not going to be like, hey man, I'm sorry that I brought you in on a bro hug on top of a whitehead. My bad. Yeah, I'm just.
But you're doing it now.
Yeah. Well, I've just put the apology out there to the public because I'm sure everybody's had that situation where they look in the mirror and they're like, oh my God, like really? That was on the side of my face. How did I not see that? But
if he were a real friend, he would have
boner.
I'm sure he doesn't care, but you got to throw the apology out there once in a while. And then we were able to drop the kids off this weekend and go to a rare movie. I told you guys we saw Nobody with what was it, Bob
Odenkirk.
Odenkirk.
I said Odendork. Odendork.
It was great. If you like,
that's a great.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's a great action flick. If you like John Wick movies and like Fallen, I said it's like a John Wick meets Fallen.
Same writer. It's same writer and like I think producers, or maybe it's the same producers, not writer. I don't know.
I don't know, but it had very
related to Wick in some way. They're connected.
Yeah. They're very, very.
Oh, it's going to be a universe.
Actually, the article I read was that it's in the same universe, but these people are just nerds writing articles, so probably not.
I do think that there'll be a part 2.
Really, is it good enough for that?
Oh yeah, if you like action and
did it end on a carry on like a?
It is the same writer.
Yeah. Yeah, it ended on a definite part 2. So they had a lot of confidence going into it, but it was great. It's a great little action flick. I mean, it's an over the top violent flick, but it was great.
You did a great job. Yeah, the previews.
Yeah,
awesome, man. That was so awesome. I want to see Bob Odenkirk fuck a bunch of people up on a bus.
Yeah. But we saw the previews too, and I've got to ask a question. When does Fast and Furious stop making movies? Because they're on Fast and Furious 9, if you can believe that. Have you guys watched any of them?
When they quit making money.
Yeah, but have you guys watched any past like maybe 3?
I think I've watched them all. And my favorite one was the third one, which had nothing to do with the original cast.
I think
it was Tokyo Drift.
Then they had the guy from Friday Night Lights. Not Friday. Was it? Yeah, Friday Night Lights. The quarterback.
Real Southern accent.
Yeah. He was the main guy in that one, and I thought, well, this is the end. It is not the end because it continues to go and go. This preview was so bad. What's his name? The guy who plays Dom.
Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel is he's such a terrible actor. He's so terrible. But this one, I don't even know how they get the people to get in these movies. Like I think I had Charlize Theron in this thing. I mean,
he's good as Groot. It's because of money. It makes a ton of money. People go see him.
But I don't understand why it's making a ton of money. Because in this particular preview, they're in a souped up car, of course, and they're driving like through like a jungle or a forest, and they're coming up on a swing bridge. And she's like, "Don't." He's like, "We got to." And they go and they now the bridge is probably 200 yards, They go to jump this bridge. The bridge snaps. Oh, a rope from the bridge, the rope bridge, catches into the fender and swings the car 200 yards across the ravine to the other side.
I'm having a hard time believing that would actually happen.
I would
Well,
not.
the
If I'm
previous-
lying, I'm dying.
I am
I couldn't make
dubious.
that up.
Did y'all
Rick.
watch the previous one?
No.
Where they all ran their cars out of the back of a plane with parachutes, and they landed on a road that was carved into the side of a mountain.
So Scott's the guy that's seeing these. You're the one
Yeah.
paying for these?
Yeah,
Because I
Well,
just said, have you seen it?
I
And you're like, oh,
downloaded
I haven't
them.
seen past 3. And now you're quoting the script for the last 7. So I don't.
Oh yeah, I
don't
saw
know
the
if
last.
trust
I've
you.
seen them all.
Okay, there we go. Now the truth comes
The
out.
only one I haven't seen is 2.
Which is I don't know. I saw 1 and 2. 1 was okay. It was kind of a fad. I thought it would kind of drop out with all the, like kind of
2
like
had
the
Luda
Street
in it.
Riders and stuff. Yeah. And then it was just kind of like, I don't know. It's amazing that these movies keep being made. I cannot believe that they're on 9. I mean, 4, 5, sure. 6, okay. I would think by the time you get to 7, 8, 9, they're just direct to video releases at that point. Wick, help me
yeah.
understand what's going on with
They're
Fast
high
and-
budget too.
I have no idea.
I mean,
But you
was
got to
wa-
think again, like how
I was
many
watching
movies, how many
PBS
Friday
before
the
this.
13th have they made, and they're still going to make more.
you're watching PBS before this show.
Yeah.
Sorry,
What's that? What's that? Your
American
night? Is
Masters.
that your nighttime stuff that you watch?
That's really all I watch.
is that when you have your cone hat on?
Yes.
What are you watching on PBS?
It was American Masters, Flannery O'Connor.
Anyway, moving
You're
on.
a Georgia boy, man.
I don't know who that even is. Is that like Georgia O'Keeffe or something? That's all I know.
Maybe the best short story writer,
Oh,
well, American in the last.
let me share with you what
70
my
years, probably.
literature. Let me share with you my extension of literature. I've read almost every choose your own adventure book out there.
See, this
That's
is
the
sad.
extent of
This
my
is a
literature.
sad reflection of the public education system in Georgia. We have one of the greatest writers of the 20th century lived in Milledgeville, Georgia, and nobody in Georgia.
Did he
knows who
write
she
any choose your own adventure books?
was. It was a female.
Did she write any choose your own adventure books?
No,
Then I have no recollection. of
she
who
wrote
wrote
"A Good Man Is Hard to Find," "Wise Blood," "All That Rises Must Converge."
You can keep trying. It's not going to ring any bells because I'm very limited on my smartness. So you're way more qualified for that kind of thing than I am. You got the high intelligence. I am just here. But yeah, choose your own adventure books, man. I mean, you can name any of those. I've read them all, except for the one about there was a girl in the forest with a unicorn, and I skipped that one. Some kind of magical journey. But the ones with the spaceships, the haunted house, and all that stuff, and the guy who went to the moon. Yeah, choose your own adventure. And let me tell you just how bad I was at choose your own adventure. I would just answer the questions and get to the end of the book. So I didn't even read what was really
Choose
happening.
your own adventures.
Yeah,
Cheated.
yeah,
You
of
cheated
course.
at Choose Your Own Adventures.
God, those
Yes.
were such great books if you follow the rules.
Yeah. But
I
no, I
love
mean,
them. I love them.
I would
I did
read
too.
them, yes, but there might be a time where I got a little bored and I just started choosing the adventure without knowing what the adventure might be. But I've read all those. But sorry, Wick, I haven't read the short story lady. I apologize.
No, she was a badass.
Yeah. You know who I lived down the street from, though? I lived down the street from Robert Birch, who was a child who wrote
Mhm.
children's books.
Yeah, of course.
Was a great man, really great
Mhm.
man. He had a huge pond in his backyard, and when we were little, he used to let us come and feed the. He had a pond full of just, I guess, random fish, and
We should really
Would-
have some kind of memorial to him in Fayetteville.
yeah, we should. Yeah, he
Mhm.
was an awesome guy.
We had
Awesome
Sam.
guy.
We had
So
Sambo
kind.
too.
Who's that?
Farrell Sams.
Oh yeah. But yeah, Robert Birch was 3 doors down, and just go over there and feed fish in his pond. He was a very kind man. I have very fond memories of Robert Birch. He was a very, very good guy. But yeah, so I don't know what's going on with these Fast and Furious movies, but it's what it is. Have you guys done any March Madness stuff?
No, but I'm rooting. I forgot to check. Did Alabama win tonight?
They were playing. I can tell you real quick. Alabama, who was a number 2 seed, they did lose. They lost to 11 seed UCLA.
Oh, bummer.
Yep, it's a crazy time for March Madness. Crazy time for March Madness, man. I don't even know. Man, I couldn't even tell you in the final anything because so many. Hey Scott, whatever you're listening to, turn it down for me because it's coming back. It's coming back in our headsets. But yeah, it's been a wild ride, man, for March Madness. But you know, they keep talking about this this old lady, that Sister Jean. You know what I'm talking about? She's 101. You know what I'm talking about? She's I can't remember who she's a fan of. She's like this 101-year-old basketball nun who goes to all the games and all this other stuff. And they were talking about her on like CNN like Friday. And it cracked me up because they were like, she's so inspiring for 101. And I thought, like, how do you know, like, do you really control being 101 to where you inspire people? Like, you're pretty much going to inspire people. Like, you're inspired to live as long as you can anyway, right? Like, isn't that kind of the thing? Like, that's like saying I'm so inspired by your fast metabolism, or I'm so inspired by your ability to tan well. It's like, it's not really your control. So to be inspired by being 101, it's kind of like everybody wants to be 101. It's not really inspiring.
Well, maybe it's her vitality that people are inspired.
But I can't. I mean, I'm not inspired by that because I can't change my own.
I don't want to be 101.
I don't know if I'd want to be 101.
I want to live forever.
I would like to live forever. I think there's a point. Right, but that will not logically happen. I think there's a point where you're like, all right, I'm ready for the show to end. I'm ready for the curtain to close. I can't control my own bowel movements. I need to.
Well, I can't do that now, but I don't want to die.
Scared of death, Wick?
Yeah, well,
terrified of it.
Are you really? Is that one of your greatest fears?
It is. Isn't it the greatest fear? Isn't it the source of all fear?
I think no. I don't think so. I mean, I think there's a point where you're ready. I think
after you die too.
Not if you go in your sleep. You won't even know. Nobody will.
Right?
Nobody wants a long, painful non-existence to happen. But I think, and certainly not before you're ready. But I think there's a point where you're 101, maybe. And listen, I hope she lives forever. It's not that. I just think that your age being inspiring it's like such an inspiration that you have the genetics to live a long time. Like,
you cynical bastard.
I can't be inspired by the fact that you have a genetic ability to live long.
What does inspire you?
People who throw footballs really far.
But you can't do that.
You'll probably be able to do that after you die.
People who can hold their breath for a really long time underwater inspire me.
That's genetic. Both those are things you just
mentioned. No, I can work up to that.
Is it genetic?
I can work up to every one of those things.
You can increase your lifespan by.
No way I'll throw a football
as far
more than 10 yards.
Oh, you can throw it more than 10 yards.
Okay, 20.
You just haven't thrown a football in a long time.
Well, I have a bad shoulder. As soon as I go this way, the shoulder's out for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, but you could work on we're getting off track here. But you could work on your shoulder to the point where you could throw a football as far that far if you wanted to. If you had somebody that was like willing to train you, you're still young enough. Well, you like Tom Brady's age.
What if it was a 101-year-old nun that could throw a ball?
Then I'm inspired. Yards. Then you got me. You got me. A spiral, 70 yards hit it in the hands. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. But you just being old doesn't 101. But I mean, like, it's like they talk about her constantly.
Signer
on CNN in the mornings, and it's like, oh, here's Sister Jean Nunn who's going to basketball games. She's such an inspiring person. It's like, I don't understand how you get inspired by being old. Like, that's just genetics. It's like, I'm so inspired that you have a full head of hair when I'm bald. You know what I mean? Like, I can't be inspired by that. I can be jealous. I'm jealous of Sister Jean that she's 101 years old going to basketball games. Sure. But I'm not inspired. I think it's just a weird choice of words.
Let me show Trey this.
There you go. See, does my hair inspire you, Scott, or are you jealous of it?
I know. I'm fine with my head.
Okay. Well, he's comfortable
Okay.
where he's at. That's
You should
okay.
shave it.
And Trey
You
is
should
watching
go-
right now, and he actually told me I wore a hat. I didn't wear a hat to work one time, and he kind of came up behind me and he just whispered. He goes, "Don't ever not wear a hat again."
That's a friend right there. Why don't you? Do you shave it all the way down?
Yeah, I do, but I just like I let it grow out, then I shave it. I don't know why.
You got to go. Bruce
I like
Willis.
I like the change.
Bruce
Oh,
Willis
I don't
did-
shave it all the way down. No, I use a buzzer. I leave some hair. I think it's better to leave some hair. I don't like the shiny head.
No, I think Bruce Willis did it right. When he started losing his hair, he just shaved it all.
Yeah,
Agreed
he called
with
it the comb over of the 90s.
What do you think, Wick? You start losing your hair, shave it, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. See,
Yeah, see, I would rather I buzz it to the very shortest without a guard, but
Mhm.
leave some hair. That way you don't have the shine.
no, that's fine. If you, I mean, like, yeah, you should not leave it like long.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, like, normal long. If you had hair, you should.
I mean,
take
you can.
buzz
Some
it down.
people, pull it off. There's people
What
that are
guard-
actors in Hollywood that get
What shave guard do you
continuous
use?
work. But you look
What
at
shave guard?
what's his name, the action star,
Yul Brenner.
Diesel.
not Yul Brenner. The Diesel
Diesel.
shaves his head, but there's Jason Statham. He does not shave his head; he buzzes it.
Yeah, I'm okay. I think Bruce Willis buzzed his for a while before he went to the flat shave.
Mm.
But I just think when you start losing it, it's I know it's terrible, and a lot of you people out there have lost your hair. I feel sympathy for you because mine's still rocking and rolling. I mean,
I need sympathy.
I hope I inspire you all to have a full head of hair. But
No.
Don't.
I get laid a lot more
David.
than you do. So
what's that?
I said I get laid a lot more than you do. So I'm good.
Well,
This is fine.
yeah. If it works for you, right? I mean,
I'm
whatever
kidding.
whatever works. So, but yeah, I'd say I don't think it's an inspiring thing. I mean, am I wrong on this? I think it's weird that you say somebody that's old is inspiring.
Well, maybe that she's still engaged with the world.
Yeah.
Who's
I
that?
think-
Who's that?
Yeah,
Most
I'll give you
people
that.
just check out at like 65.
You talking about Betty White?
Just people that are disengaged from planet Earth after a certain age.
So like Sean Connery did.
What did Sean Connery do?
When he
Well,
retired.
he just disappeared one day.
He retired.
Well, he
Yeah,
retired, but he
that's what happened.
disappeared from the spotlight. So did Johnny Carson.
Gene Hackman.
I don't
Oh.
know. I mean,
Brendan says I cut my hair better than most people.
there you go. Well, you got
don't
some
know.
friends that
Yeah,
have your back.
it's no guard. Yeah, I just shave that shit off.
Scott actually has the largest fan base of the show. Did
Yeah,
you know that? Wick?
It's at 3 right. No, it's back down. No, I'm at 3. I have 3 people. That's what I was trying to check.
You have trumped me and Wick.
Oh wow!
Nobody watches Wick and I.
All right, guys.
So yeah, you're winning.
All
I
right.
don't know. A lot of serious stuff.
Ray,
going on.
Brendan,
What
and
do
I
you
don't
guys-
know who else is watching. Maybe Brianna.
Maybe.
So hope
Hello
I
to
called
all of
y'all
them,
out,
all
right?
of your fan base. What would you
If I
call
didn't-
your fan
if I
base?
didn't comment.
What would you call your fan base?
Scottonians.
Scottonians. I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, Scottonian. We call
Thank you,
Wick's Wick's kids.
Scottonians. Thank you, Scottonians.
Yeah, there you go. You got a fan base.
Mhm.
Some serious stuff for the news. You guys, are you all mixed up in this whole Georgia voting thing, or you don't care?
What are you talking about? Georgia voting? Georgia is
Yeah, they
total
changed
fraud.
all these laws. Everybody's
Georgia is
What do you
like
think,
totally
Nick?
fucked up. It's a total fraud. And actually, Trump's talking about running for Senate in 2022 in Georgia.
how old will he be in 2022?
76.
I think he's older than that, isn't he?
He would be 78 if he ran for president again.
I mean, what state is he going to run for senator in?
Georgia is what he's talking about.
And Georgia?
Yeah, he thinks it's the most corrupt state, and he needs to come in here and clean it up.
Well, there we go. Nothing like Trump with the broom to sweep up the state.
Somebody's got to, because I totally agree with him. I think I think Stacey Abrams is the most corrupt person in politics right now.
And why do you feel all that way?
Basically the way she's fought elections, trying to get votes in, is totally it's total bullshit, and it's fraudulent. Talking about voter suppression, there's no voter suppression. I mean, like, what is voter suppression right now? Not taking people with IDs, without IDs?
I don't know. But now that's what's going to be the requirement now to vote. Well, I think I kind of agree with a lot of what they said, because I read
Brendan's biting his fucking fist right now. He wants to comment.
I read a lot on like the PBS site had, which I felt like was a little unbiased, was that PBS did a write up on it.
I'm dancing.
And, there you go. He is on target tonight. But so a lot of it was just having ID for absentee votes, like having to write your driver's license number on it, and then they're doing drop-off boxes are going to be inside the voter precinct instead of outside. I mean, there's a couple of. I'll be honest with you. I read it. I have a hard time finding. I know a lot of people are saying it's racist. I'm not qualified to really say whether it is or not. I don't feel like it is from just what I read, and I posted on my page the PBS breakdown. You know, they want to do. I think they want to get absentee ballots in, like I think a couple of days before the election, and have a cutoff, which I actually agree with, and I think they should have done that for this last one, honestly, because they knew the coronavirus situation was going to be pretty serious, right? And they knew that everybody's going to be doing a lot of absentee votes. And I almost think like a day or two prior that you kind of do a cutoff at that point and say, listen, there's no way we can count all these in time. We got to have some leadway to get started. I mean, now they're allowed to prep the absentee vote. They don't actually count it. They just kind of get it prepared, make sure it's all correct and ready to go in for the counts. So I think some of the changes are fine. I think it's a little bit of an overreaction to it. There's a lot of people upset.
I haven't read the bill.
You know, I won't bore people with what it says. I mean, like I said, you can go to my page and go to the PBS one. I think some of the problem that we have really is that so many people read information that tells them kind of what they want to believe. So if you want to believe it's good, you'll go someplace where it's great, and you'll read that article, and it'll be an opinion piece probably.
Mm-hmm.
And if you hate it, you'll go to someplace that'll give you an opinion piece on why it's terribly horrible and racist to everybody and everything else, and it'll give you what you want, and it'll give you enough ammo to fight each other with. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's necessarily bad for people to, show, an ID and an absentee vote. I think the whole thing is, after what happened, I think you do have to take some action to ease people's minds that their elections are going as fair as possible. Not to say that this wasn't, because I don't think it was rigged, but personally, that's just my personal opinion. But people did feel that way enough to storm the Capitol anyway. So anything we can do to kind of prevent that from happening again, I think it's probably a good idea, Wick. I don't know.
I don't think they're going to believe what they're going to believe.
Yeah, I find that. Yeah, in spite of everything, I think people just really believe what they want to, and they'll go to get information that will back up whatever they want to believe it to be, and that's where they get it, and that's where they fight on Facebook about it. But I think some of the things are good, and I think the only thing people had some issue with was it gave government officials a lot of power over certain rules and parameters of counting votes and all that. So everybody, it's free to read it on my page, of course, but I think people may have an issue with that, and I get it, especially that you've got a lot of people that are a certain party, in Georgia that will have a little bit of control over how things will go, and that probably makes people on the left uncomfortable. I understand, but we have to try to prevent what happened from happening again. So some of the rules I kind of agree with, and I think some of the rules, a lot of the people that run the polling places were really happy to get this law, some of the parts of the law, but there are going to be people mad about it. That's for sure. It's like you can't do anything without people being mad, right?
No, it's just the way of the world, man.
Definitely is. So I don't know. Scott, did you read any of that law? I think it was SB 202.
What law was that?
The election laws that they changed in Georgia.
Not too familiar.
Okay, I'm gonna go with an order. And then of course in other news, we got more shootings and things like that. I don't know if that was something that we wanted to tackle tonight. We don't really come in here with a lot of setup, but I think it is something that people are talking about. It's an issue. Biden wants to ban assault rifles. I think it's only going to escalate from here. It's just weird to me. Like we go a whole year with COVID of really this stuff being quiet, and we didn't really joke about it, but we kind of snickered about it, Wick and I, months ago, where we said, when the COVID's over, then all this stuff will start back up, unfortunately. And it's just weird that it has. And
I called it.
I just have to question the fact that I get that people are unstable, they're depressed, and things are going on in their life, and they're hurting, and they want to hurt other people. I understand that. It's just amazing to me that people that do this are so crazy and insane, but rational enough to wait for COVID to be over. Right? I mean,
I'm not going to do this.
I'm not going to do this until COVID. But I'm crazy in every other aspect. And it's like sometimes I just wonder if evil's born. You know what I mean? If evil's just born, and people are just born that way to be evil and malicious and with a desire to harm others. And
I think it's a perfect storm of predispositions to mental illness and then environment.
Yeah.
Together.
I think they're set up.
So you think
then it's to push an agenda.
Now I'm curious about this. So if and I'm not, I mean, you could be right. I don't know. But if there's an agenda, which would be gun control, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay. How do you set somebody up to go shoot a bunch of people if you want to set an agenda? Like, do they, and I'm not being funny. I'm really trying to figure this out when that argument's made, because it seems like it's almost like all of these people have this code word planted in their mind to kill a bunch of people, and certain people will call them and say pineapple, and then the switch flips and they go and start shooting people. And it's like,
Yeah,
okay,
it could be something along the line of Clockwork Orange. Could be something along the lines of, we got a lot of dirt on you. This is what's going to happen if you don't do this. If you do this, we're going to make sure we let you go and hide you, and nobody ever hears from you again.
But how do you do that with like somebody who's like 18 or 20? Like, how do you have dirt on somebody? Like, yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong. It's just hard for me to believe.
Some people just do it, but there's other people who you never hear about again. Where's the guys that shot up Sandy Hook?
Wick, do you subscribe to a possible conspiracy theory when it comes to mass shootings?
No.
Kind of knew that's where you're going to go. I mean, it's possible. I
It's
do think
it's Occam's razor. It's always the most rational, obvious option is the true option.
Yeah.
I don't see that any rational, true option though.
That people are.
Well, somebody's just mentally ill and gets a gun and wants to shoot people.
He goes and shoots up a elementary school.
Right.
That's torn to the ground now, flattened.
Sandy Hook is?
Yeah, it's not there anymore.
It's a shame. Terrible what happened. But I don't know. I had to do a podcast a couple of years ago as a guest, and the topic was gun control. And I had notes from that I went back and read, where I actually went back and looked at a lot of things. Now, I will go ahead and tell you straight up, this is a year ago. This is before COVID. I think I did this in August of 2019 when I was doing that. And so it was before COVID. And I just did 2 years worth of research on it. And I was kind of relooking at the notes that I'd kind of found. And I did some elimination when I went back and looked at all of what they considered mass shootings in 2018, 2019. And I eliminated domestic violence. I didn't consider mass shooting to involve a family. So mom's cheating, dad finds out, dad kills mom.
It's like 4 or more.
I think I did 3 or more actually on my personal research, but you might be right. But I
know that's just something I read. I mean, it doesn't mean that that's true.
Right. And, I basically took anybody who, if anybody was killed that was related, so brother versus brother, ex-boyfriend, girlfriend, boyfriend, cheating, all this other stuff. I took all of that out. Kids killing parents over anger. I took all of those statistics out because I didn't think it was fair. Because I think people know that gun violence happens because people get into either a passionate issue in their relationship, crime of passion, right? Or, people relate it. And then all of a suddenly, that kind of pops out. But I think it's different when it's random acts of violence against people that are not connected to the shooter. And you're in a store and all of a sudden people are being shot. Go ahead, Scott. I know you were going to say something.
Well, I got a comment from Facebook from Brendan. Believes it's a cycle. A shooting happens to the left and the right make a big fuss about it, and nothing happens. That's just true. What I've seen in the past few years.
That is very true.
Very true.
So
one shooting begets another shooting because the second shooter sees how much attention the first shooter gets. Yeah, it's people that have hopeless lives and mental illness and might as well be known for something.
I want to say
about the past shooting that just happened in Colorado and Boulder. This guy was somebody who hated Trump. He was Muslim, Middle Eastern. Did he believe that the people were all Trump supporters in Boulder, Colorado at this grocery store, which is a very liberal city?
Well, he was also connected to somebody that was arrested, or they're not arrested, but they're investigating for, I think, terrorist connections before the shooting happened. I don't know what the connection was, but apparently the shooter was connected, according to the news story I read, that the shooter was connected to somebody they were already kind of looking into. But I think when I did that, I've got them pulled up here. And again, if anybody wants to double check what I have, feel free. I'm not saying that I know everything. I'm saying I took my personal time to look at it because I wanted to understand it better. I could have completely missed information, but it's a podcast I'm on and I'm going to share it. But I think in 2019, at the time of August, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that fit that criteria. In 2018, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 that fit that criteria, being over 3, non-related, random acts of violence. In those cases, some were on some type of medication for depression or, schizophrenia or whatnot. In fact, I can tell you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of all of them. So we had 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, roughly 13 total between 2018, 2019. 9 of them were on some type of medication. Average age was about 30 years old. Honestly, I see a lot of it's white males. It's really not. I mean, white males do make up a good portion, but in my criteria that I looked at, for instance, the 6 in 2019 at the time of August, it was 3 black, 3 white. a race. In 2018, of the we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 were white. The others were mixed minority, Asian or whatnot. So it's not a majority overwhelming. The majority is probably like 57%, something like that, but it's not an overwhelming slam dunk of white people do this. It's a problem, and the reason why I say that is not to create a race discussion at all. What I'm saying is that this is a problem that's across several different racial groups. So it can't, when you want to try to solve this problem, you can't just say it's just genuinely all these people and not any of these people. Because if we're going to solve the problem and we're going to look into it, we got to look at it realistically, that it's a problem across races.
Yeah, mental health is not a race issue.
It's not. And that's why I'm bringing it up before I get heat for that. Of the 2019 mass shooters, prior issues, four of the 6 had prior issues. One was expelled from school for trying to kill classmates or saying he was going to kill classmates. One stabbed an ex-girlfriend. One had was on multiple therapy drugs for delusions. Another was obsessed with shooting and had a hit list, and it was believed that he was bipolar. Of the 2018, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 of them all had prior issues. Irrational behavior reported by others around him, mental illness that was documented, violent past and was put into court for trying to kill his wife, diagnosed with schizophrenia, ordered to a mental health facility. One was a serial killer, they found out. One had depression and wanted to commit suicide from suicidal notes that they found. Was being treated for mental disorders. Another one had autism, ADD.
Was the Sandy Hook? Was that the Sandy Hook shooter?
And monitored due to prior concerns. Just to finish this up, so we can have a full blown discussion about it. Of all of those, assault rifles were used in 4 of all of them. So I say there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 13, 16. 4 assault rifles were used. All the rest were handguns and shotguns. Politically, this is what was interesting. When I went through and searched for their political backgrounds, most of them had no political background.
Very political.
Yeah, they had no. There was a far right, a far left, a liberal, or a left, a Nazi sympathizer, and a Second Amendment freak was one of them. So right, left, but the majority had no political, and places where they happened all over the place. Florida, Georgia, Illinois, Virginia, Texas, Ohio, California, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. Nobody was more than other. It wasn't more in the South than it was in the North, more in the East than it was in the West. It was spread everywhere. And as far as legal weapons, all of them but 3 had legal weapons. One got
registered?
one. I'm sorry.
Illegal, you mean registered, right?
No, legally
purchased.
Legally purchased.
Legally purchased, but not like fully automatic. No.
No, I mean you can't.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a misconception too. You can't
in
have
Georgia. You're only registered if you have a carry permit.
You do not.
You can carry it on your hip without being registered in Georgia.
You cannot have an automatic weapon. Nobody will sell you an automatic weapon. You cannot buy one. You have to have a special license, and I think it's a collector's license, or military license can have.
Those
one,
are impossible to get,
and it's very hard to get. So let's go ahead and eliminate the fact that nobody's getting shot up by automatic weapons. Now, Las Vegas, I don't know if that was included in this list, but the Las Vegas shooting was a bump stop, which they made illegal, and what that did was basically you held your finger. And when you pulled the trigger and the gun went off, it would bounce off your shoulder. Okay. And you can just hold your finger there and you just hold it and it was like a spring in the back of the gun that would make
the bounce keeps the trigger enacted.
That's right. It would just bounce against the trigger constantly, which they made those illegal and they should have never been legal. So a lot of people believe that the automatic weapons were used in that shooting, and they were not. That was a modification that is now illegal. But I think a lot of this, I just want to say, mental illness played a big role. I'm not carrying an agenda. Please do research. Mental illness did play a big role in this. Age group was 30 to 34. The race was not a factor. There was no political agenda. You look at the Las Vegas shooter, find me a political agenda. Nobody can find one.
Well, look at the Las Vegas shooting. Find me any information on why this happened, because I think there was a reason, but then all of a sudden more and more questions came out, more and more videos, because it was such a massive scene and police were on the scene and people were videoing and shots were being heard from different areas on video, and this story just died. What was the final conclusion? This guy had hundreds of AR-15s in his room, like there was some sort of deal going down. There were security guards who completely ignored the situation.
Well, I did recently go back and look into that one. And there's you're right. I mean, it just basically falls flat. That there's I don't think that they have any reasonable, rational idea of why this happened.
I know he was hemorrhaging money. That was
that, and I do think, I mean, he was a big time gambler.
Yeah.
And I think, when you live in Las Vegas, you're in a really weird sleep cycle. Okay. You're up all night, you're sleeping all day. Yeah. Plus he had a couple of other businesses going. I'm not going to say that his sleep cycle caused it. That's not what I'm saying. But his money was made in strange ways. But he obviously had an obsession with weapons. And I think,
how did he get the guns up there?
Well, they had that video of that. They were in bags.
They're in bags. He didn't just walk them up around. Yeah. He hit them. But it's a good question that Scott raises too. Was there a gun deal that was going down that went south, or But and he had C4 in his car. I mean, he had a lot of effort to make into harming a lot of people. And I don't know. Obviously, I just think if you're going to do that, you obviously have some kind of mental illness problem, right? I mean, I've never thought about doing anything like that.
That's just a foregone conclusion.
What do we know about the bomb that went off in Nashville?
I think that was a guy with mental illness as well, wasn't it, Wick? Where he just
had a reoccurring announcement saying, "Get away from the vehicle."
Yeah,
you have this much time left.
Yeah, and
before the bomb goes off.
Basically, a bomb, suicide bombing. I think you would consider that because he was in the vehicle.
So here's what the talk is on that: is that it was in front of the AT&T building. He was given the Domino as a Dominion. They were given the majority of the Dominion voting machines to investigate when there was an investigation call. And then that's when this bomb went off, a week later.
With election machines?
This is in the conspiracy.
Election machines?
No, they were being investigated for fraudulent activity.
Oh. Well, again, that's somebody where the neighbors knew something was weird with the guy. He's always been off, and
somebody blew it up.
Try to kill their dog or something weird like that one time, But I got this conclusion. I'm going to say it. You guys, can argue. Wick, I know you haven't said a whole lot. I probably talked over you here, but I don't think getting rid of. I'm okay. I'm a gun owner. I have a carry permit. I have weapons that I keep safely put away because I have children. But I do have weapons at my disposal. Not a lot. I think there is a limit to how many I would really want anyway. But I don't think getting rid of assault rifles ends it. I think everybody's going to be very disappointed if that were the case. I mean, I'm okay with the ending. I'm okay with the ban on assault weapons. That's where I'm going with this because, listen.
Well, we had
that-
it for almost 10 years.
We did under Clinton.
Yeah, and then it expired, I think, under Bush.
Right. That is correct.
The second term. Right.
I heard that you can own a grenade launcher. I asked this question through Google, the master, and they said that I could own a grenade launcher. I just want to say that as a gun owner myself, I don't trust anybody around me with a grenade launcher. Okay.
If you're getting a grenade launcher,
what are you getting it for?
What are you getting it for? Turkey hunting?
Like, I don't care if you take it to your cabin in the woods where you're going to go. If all hell breaks loose, that's fine with me. More power to you. But I just think that when you start being able to own those types of weapons, I'll tell you a funny story.
Is throwing a grenade not satisfying enough?
I don't think anybody should have a grenade.
I want to launch the grenade. I want a tank.
I just don't trust people to have this
50 caliber gun on the roof of my house.
Well, here's the thing: like when the assault rifle ban was in place, it seemed we didn't have this, debate happening ceaselessly.
Mm.
And
you mean
if I had my druthers, it would be, reenact the assault weapons ban and then just call it even. Don't go any further.
Do we have assault weapons?
Semi-automatic assault weapons.
Yeah, you can buy like AK-47s now and
large
Kalashnikovs.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I'll tell you a funny story that kind of says this is what I worry about people. Now, there are people that own guns that are completely responsible, but I had a guy call me. I was one time doing this whole thing on Craigslist when Craigslist was this new non-dangerous jungle of good deals and bargains. And I remember I had put some golf clubs up on Craigslist, and I got this guy that contacted me, and he was like, listen, he was like, I really want to start taking up golf, and I have a gun that's legally owned, legally registered. I've never even shot it. Would you be interested in trading for it? It's probably worth a lot more than the golf clubs. And I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, as long as we meet somewhere public, we do a bill of sale, we put our license numbers on it. As long as we do everything legit,
yeah
I'll take it. Because I figured I could flip it for more money, which I did. So I got up there. I meet this guy at Target. I said, we got to meet somewhere public, where there's cameras and whatnot, because, just so we can always validate ourselves. So we did. He was really cool. We did a whole write-up. He showed me his license. I wrote his license number down on things and whatnot. And so afterwards, we're talking. We do the exchange. We sign the paperwork, which was all legal. And I said, why are you getting rid of the gun? It's really nice. It's brand new. It's a nice Smith & Wesson. I can't remember now what it was, but really nice gun. And I was like, and it was worth more than the golf clubs. Probably about $200. I was like, why are you selling this gun? And his answer to me absolutely freaked me out. He goes, well, I used to have it for home protection. He said, but now I've got an AK-47. And I don't need it anymore. And I said, you have an AK-47 for home protection? And he was like, yeah. He's like, so, I don't need a handgun anymore. I've got an AK-47. And all I could think about was when somebody breaks into your home, right? And you probably being very inexperienced with that AK-47, probably going to shoot every wall in your house. That's going to go through your drywall and to the house next to you. And that's very, very concerning for me. You know what I mean? Like, do you know the power of the weapon that you have, that you possess for home protection at AK-47? And that's more of a standoff. The Russians are coming. We're going Red Dawn here.
Yeah.
That's not really for a couple of creeps that are breaking into your door. You know what I mean? It seems like a shotgun would do just as good as a job. In fact, I think shotguns are the best home protection on the planet.
Pump action, especially, just.
Oh yeah. I mean, a 20 gauge is a great home protection weapon. I was really freaked out at the fact the guy said he wanted he had an AK-47, but that's the mentality of Americans. If we can have it, we want it. And because we're free to have it, why shouldn't we be able to get it? And I think that's a little bit of the pushback that you get now when you talk about gun control. But when I look through these mass shootings, like I said, under the perimeters that I set for my own research, AK-47s weren't the problem. And if you want to, listen, somebody who stands off from the side, I'm kind of in the middle here. And like I said, I do own weapons, firearms. If you want to ban assault weapons, I'm not going to stand in your way. That's okay. Because like I said, I don't want somebody owning a grenade launcher next door to me. I'm okay with it. I don't see a real need for anybody to own a weapon like that. However,
I want a grenade launcher.
However, if you think that that's going to reduce mass shootings, I think it's going to be disappointing for people. I don't think it's going to get the job done.
No, I don't think so.
Towards like what the Second Amendment was actually written for, and that's to remove people from power who threaten our liberty.
But you already have a weapon to do that. I don't need somebody with I'm telling you, I don't want somebody with a grenade launcher living.
I got to be able to fight the military.
I've got news for you. You won't be able to.
Well, I think
you won't.
They'll probably join our side, but
but I mean, all of this stuff about
everything available to them, I think should be available to
the
us.
government taking the
That's
government. Right. I don't. The government I got to be honest with you. I think they have a lot more time on a weapon like that to train on it than you do. I just don't. I think there's some. I know people who do competition shootings and all that. I trust them. I know that they're not going to do anything crazy with their weapon. There's a lot of people though. I can guarantee you let's say just AK-47s, and that may not even be the majority of the problem. Let's just say AK-47s. Wait, of all the AK-47s owned, how many of them do you think were fired more than 2 sessions with the person that currently owns them?
Do you have the answer, or am I just? We're just.
No, I'm asking.
I have.
Where
do you go? Where do you go?
I mean, I guess
you can shoot them in your backyard,
right? You can't. Well, I mean, some places you can.
I mean, to get proficient with it.
Yeah, but I mean, I would guess that 80% of the AK-47s in the current owner's hands probably has less than 3 sessions of shooting it, whereas an officer, SWAT member, military personnel has hours of experience. And so to me, that kind of sets the line for me that I don't know that I want an inexperienced person that has that kind of power to just decide that they're sick of the HOA and that they're going to want to shoot grenades. You know what I mean? Because I don't trust people. I don't trust people. I think people are the worst. I really do.
Well,
Wick, I've said that to you. I think people
training would have to go.
So to me, that's kind of where I stand on that. And you're not going to be able to beat the military if they decide to turn on you and come into your I mean, you know what I mean? Like maybe if there's
I'm going to have a Apache helicopter as well.
Yeah.
I'll have an Apache helicopter.
I couldn't even fly a remote control helicopter on Grand Theft Auto.
Well, I'd have to hire an army.
My kids,
I'll hire train.
I got them an RC helicopter, like a really small one, dude. Like charges in 10 minutes and it flies for about 5 and then I have to recharge it. And I wrecked it into the wall like 8 times, like trying to show them how to fly it. It was a disaster. Yeah, I don't need
it's hard as hell. But then, we have this discussion of freedom, and with freedom comes
great responsibility.
Well, it comes with the idea that you're not going to be safe. I mean, freedom comes with a lot of risk, and you have to we live in a world where we have 2 different understandings of what freedom should be. One should be you have the freedom to feel safe, and one should be you have the freedom to do whatever you want and pay the consequences later. But I think freedom in itself is not safe. It's, if we look at the beginning of even this country, people were doing things that were completely, they would go all the way across the continent to find wealth, and the risk they took to have freedom and wealth was tremendous. Many people died just trying to go from one side of the country to the other.
Trying to get to Arkansas.
Yeah. People die, freedom has its risk, you're not going to stop somebody. So guns are a great example. if you have the freedom to own weapons and you have the freedom to go to the grocery store, the guy who has the freedom to have his gun, who goes into the grocery store, is then infringing his freedoms on your freedoms. So you're at risk. You're at risk of people who speed and don't follow the law because nobody's going to make them unless they get caught doing it. Like you have every day you have people that are going to do what they want to do because they have the freedom to do what they want to do until they get caught. Then when you get caught, then when you break a law, then the consequences come. But you can't have safety and freedom at the same time. You can have, what would you call it? Freedom within realm, but you can't have complete freedom, which you kind of have now until you're caught doing something you're not supposed to be doing. You break a law, but you have to actually be caught breaking the law. People break laws all the time and not get caught. So you have the freedom, in other countries, you wouldn't even be able to get close to breaking the law before you were before you're beat up pretty badly. As soon as they saw you doing something that they were like, okay, you're getting close to the line. We're just going to go ahead and solve it.
You haven't committed a crime yet, but
right,
we're preventing it.
And do you remember that church that there's a church recently that was a gunman invaded, and I guess they were going to shoot it up. That was a plan, but about 5 people got up who had weapons on them.
Weapons,
and they were trained, and drove them out. And this has happened more than once. It happened in a movie theater, I think, at one point where they shot one person and then the guy got up and shot them dead. None of this makes the news. There's going to be law-abiding citizens with these weapons as well. So, like, I might drive my tank to the grocery store and blow him up. Okay, that won't work. But
you wouldn't get out of the driveway.
You can't even get it out of the
driveway. I would if it were legal.
But the point being is that you either have safety or you have freedom. I think that's just really how this country is. And there are people on the side of, hey, you know what? Kids should be able to. You're absolutely right. Kids should be able to go to school without being in fear. Absolutely. But you're going to have people that are going to say,
your freedom for safety, you're going to lose all your freedom at some point.
And it does go to say that what's the next thing if you give this up? I just think that there's a compromise. I think everything has compromise, and
the genius of this country is compromise. It's,
right. Which is something that's been a little lost, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's majorly been lost.
I think if you make one gun law, then that's going to be amended at another point, and then amended again, and it's going to go. It's going to become.
But we've seen
that smaller and smaller to where you're only going to be able to carry 5 rounds in your home. Period.
But we did have a gun law, and it
didn't change things. I mean, we've seen gun law. We had an assault weapons ban. People still bought
at that
guns.
Point in time.
We've had background checks.
I would say to push, but the UN's already on record saying that we can't move forward until America's disarmed. For globalism,
I don't really care for the UN anyway. But my point is that, listen, we've had gun laws.
Biden does.
We've had gun laws, and they didn't affect my ability to buy a weapon. I just, went and bought it and had a background check, and they gave me a gun, So, I mean, I think if that were the case, we would have already seen it happening. I don't have an issue with the assault weapons ban. I really don't. I don't think the average person really understands what they're holding in their hands when they buy a military-grade assault weapon. I don't think most people are trained for it. I don't think they know what they're doing with it. And I think you're asking for more trouble. Now, on the other end of
I haven't seen an attack with a real assault weapon yet, though.
Well, I just read a couple that had AK-47s, but I said though, I don't think that that's going to solve it.
No, I didn't hear about those.
Yeah, there was a couple.
It's always been AR-15s.
Not a lot. Well, assault weapons. I think it was AR-15s or AK-47. It was assault weapon under the listing.
Semi-automatic.
That stands for automatic rifle.
Yeah, semi-automatic rifle. But probably I believe the caliber had to be larger than 40.
It just looks more menacing than it really is.
I know guys that have AR-15s that are 22s. They're 22 rifles with AR-15 dressing.
Gods.
Like a lot of it's BS. Okay. There are people that just have.
I saw that. I think it was the militia that stood that went to Stone Mountain Was it last
Mhm.
year or the year before? I don't remember.
I think
He had 20. He had 22 bullets stuffed in a fully, a full range AR-15. They didn't fit, and then somebody took a picture of it, and the 22 bullet was sitting in there sideways.
Yeah, I mean,
That was not a real militia. That was
Mhm.
bullshit.
Yeah.
That was a staged
Right.
event.
I just think that I don't trust most people to have that kind of firepower, honestly. And I think we had a cap on magazines as well under Clinton. I don't have an issue with that. I don't care. I mean, for me to think that I'm going to be able to hold off the U.S. government who's coming to take my property is ridiculous.
Mhm.
I mean, certainly if you feel like you need to do that, then, buy within your legal rights what you feel like you need to have. But if you think that you're going to be able to hold off an army, you're being unrealistic with yourself. And I think,
Well, a lot of these trained militias is what I'm referring to, and
yeah,
they are ex-military. They have their
yeah,
own grounds.
and that's
They have their
fine.
own training
I mean,
facilities.
if you're an ex-military person, I have the utmost respect for you. And if you know how to handle your weapons, I don't have a problem. I'm just talking about. I think you've got a lot of people who don't know what they're doing who have these weapons because they're cool. And I mean, I wish I could tell you that it was something more advanced than that, but there are a lot of people that just like the feel of a really, really, really powerful weapon in their hands without any experience of owning it and shooting it. And that's scary to me as a person who owns firearms. But I think the real problem does come down to, I think when I look at all of those like statistics that I personally did, the main thing was always mental illness. And it also that in so many of those cases, somebody close to that person put up a flag. Was like, look, my brother's not stable, or called the police on him, or had problems at school, or had kill list. And I can promise you, a lot of these younger, like, okay, so the Columbine shooters, if mom and dad had just gone into their rooms every once in a while and looked around, they would have found out what their kids were up to.
I know. It was under their bed.
Yep. Notebooks under their bed about how they were going to do this and do that. And listen, I don't think my kids would ever do that. But I told my wife, I said, look, you are always, it's like we live behind the steel curtain at my home. When they get older, you will go through their stuff. They have no privacy rights. You will go through everything. And we'll know everything about their lives. I said, put it back where you found it. But we're going to know everything. And if we see something alarming, we're going to step in. And I think there was one kid that shot up a place where he worked at FedEx or something. And dad was just, oh my God, he's out there on the news. I can't believe this is just so out. But then guess what? Guess what he had under his bed? Notebooks about how he was going to kill people at work. Like, get involved, and there are warning signs that I think that people ignore. I think that's the big cue, the big clue to all this is that when somebody's not stable, and that needs to be taken a lot more serious by the FBI and the police. And we see the police kind of fail at times on that, where they have boundaries they can't cross or whatnot, and they can't, and they've got these certain rules, and we need to look at those rules and say, listen, we need to flag people that are dangerous to themselves and others. And I'll tell you this, and it's not a popular opinion. I'm not saying that we need universal health care or anything like that, but I am saying if we're going to do anything in America right now, let's get free mental health care to Americans.
Amen.
If you want to go see a counselor, you go get it. You go see a counselor, because it's not just shootings, but it's kids being bullied. It's people feeling depressed right now and hopeless. The youth is really struggling with anxiety to do simple tasks.
I think if there's any revolution occurring right now, it's the revolution of acknowledgement of mental health.
Yeah.
And mental illness.
And people are more comfortable talking about it.
The problem is endemic.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we'll do the health insurance debate down the road. I mean, whenever that's never going to be something everybody's happy with. Let's just admit. But if you can't agree at looking at America today and the youth and even older people that are dealing with things, you can't look at America today and say we've got a real issue where mental health needs to be addressed, and we need to get it to people who need it. We need to give free counseling. Listen, I went to go buy, and also
Mhm.
we need to limit people that are in care from being able to buy weapons. We need to flag them. The FBI needs to be aware. They need to flag them. And I'm also kind of into the idea of a restriction on ammunition that you buy, and you can't buy ammunition online because all of these people go and buy bulk loads of ammunition before they do this. They go buy $700 worth of ammunition. And I think we need to restrict how much you can buy at one time. And you can buy, so many a week. But if you're going to come in and buy 1,000 rounds one day, that needs to throw up a lot of flags. And they need to say, no, we have a limit of how much you can buy at one stop. And you can say you can't do that, but I can assure you can, because I bought allergy medicine the other day.
Exactly.
I'm serious.
Exactly.
I bought allergy medicine. I wanted the good stuff. I want the stuff with the speed in it that clears up my sinuses.
The stuff they make meth out of. Yeah.
That's right. And so I went in there, I bought 24 capsules of something, signed the paperwork, gave them my license. They scanned it. The crap didn't
Get this
work.
guy some meth, Trey.
With what I was dealing with, it didn't do anything. Like what it just, I don't know. Yeah, they got like 4 different types of allergy meds, and whatever I was dealing with was not helping. So about 10 days later, I go back to CVS, a totally different one. I said, I need to buy some allergy meds. Okay, what do you want? And I said, well, let me try the Allegra D. Okay, I can't sell it to you. So what do you mean you can't sell it to me? Yeah, you've already bought your limit. You can't buy again. I think it was like for 2 weeks. And I was like, are you kidding?
You junkie.
Yeah. And they were like, well, with the laws with methamphetamines, the people who buy in bulk make meth, and that's kind of their clue that they're making meth. So now you have a limit. Now, I'm sure people who make crystal meth have figured this out and have worked a way around it, because crystal meth's still available, despite the fact that that's going on, which may go against my point. But my point is that if I can go into a drugstore and be told I can't buy another allergy med for 2 more weeks, certainly we can say, hey, look, you can't buy any more than 250 rounds of ammunition for another 2 weeks. Because people that are doing this are buying it in bulk. So I think we need to get serious about giving people free counseling for mental health. We'll worry about the other stuff. I know that's a debate. But you're going to have a hard time convincing me that giving, mental health help to people that need it for free. And look, Medicaid doesn't. I mean, you know what? Doctors get a certain amount from Medicaid every month for people that they see. It's a salary.
Yeah.
I mean, they get free money from seeing people on Medicaid. So it's the same thing. Counselors just get money from, a fund that would fund that. You're going to pay it into taxes. Yep, you will. Unfortunately, that's just life. Somebody's going to pay for it. But I think we need to get serious free mental health to Americans, young and old, because a lot of people are dealing with a lot of things, and it's too expensive. I've been through a lot of marriages and divorces. I'm ashamed to say it is life. That's what I've gone through. Not my current marriage, but I've had troubles. Okay. And going to see a marriage counselor was expensive. It was a very expensive endeavor. And I can imagine parents that want to take their kids for counseling that know they're going through things, or they're being bullied, or they got serious problems going on, or they're having bad thoughts, or they're reading things that they're writing, could take them to a counselor and be seen free and no cost. And I think we really need to get serious about mental health. I think we need to limit how much ammunition people are buying at one time. And you can do the assault bans, but I think those 2 things would make a big difference in how these things turn out. But sometimes people are just born evil too. I mean, and I believe that. I mean, look at serial killers. People are just born evil. And no amount of, head medication or head discussion is going to help that.
No, there would be no way to prevent Ted Bundy.
No, you're not. No. Do you guys think people are born evil?
Well, like I said, I think they're born with certain proclivities that can be exacerbated by environment.
Exacerbate it. There's that word.
Yeah.
I told Wick I'm always scared to say that word because I'm scared I'm going to say something else by accident. And then it's going to be really
I exacerbate daily.
exacerbate. I always think about like I'm going to say that, and I'm like, no, I'm not, because I'm going to mess it up. It's going to be an awkward
Masturbate
moment
right
between
now,
me and this
right?
woman. What's that, Scott?
I could exacerbate right now.
There you go.
Pull a Tubin.
Somebody got caught, right?
Tubin.
Doing this
Jeffrey
on
Tubin.
Zoom? Huh?
Jeffrey Tubin.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What do you guys think
How do you
about
get
all
caught?
this? You know, what do you guys think about all this gun control stuff? I mean, give me your back. I mean, I talked on about it, so you guys jump in and give me your opinions on it.
Well,
I think we should be able to buy as much ammunition as we need. The healthcare thing, I think, is a good idea as far as mental health. But that's about it. I mean, I believe that we should be able to protect ourselves against our own government, because I believe it's very easy for them to turn on us. I believe that laws are kind of showing, they're getting stricter and stricter. Freedoms are shrinking in the name of safety.
I get that.
And that's what they're using to restrict our freedoms is fear and your safety. And these laws will eventually be amended. Of course, it wasn't, I guess, with Clinton's, but
it can always happen.
I do believe that. I believe that's the end game, because it's already been stated by the United Nations, which you don't support. But there are parties there are people in parties here who are on that side, who do want to move in that direction. And there are a lot of people who do too.
Oh. Wick, what do you think?
I think the mental health thing is premier in attacking the issue. People that are, spiritually grounded are going to go out and do these kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're going to happen because you can't, have 100% of the American population with sterling mental health. But nobody that has a life worth living is going to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Listen, I'll negotiate. If you want to buy the weapons you want to buy, that's fine. But I think give me free mental health for Americans, and then if we can see a decrease, then have your guns.
And it shouldn't even be. It's we should have that. I don't want to say in spite of the gun issue, but just because we have a mental health crisis in America.
Yeah, despite the shootings. Yep.
Yeah.
It seems also like every shooter has a very obvious background proving, or at least suggesting, that this sort of thing might happen. They always come back and say that from the right side, but it's not false. It's true. It's like their posts on Facebook and Twitter and notebooks found under their bed, things like that. The evidence is there, and a lot of times the FBI has been aware of it, and they're on a watch list, like this past guy in Boulder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's nothing they can do about it.
Yeah, because he still has his freedoms, right?
Yeah.
It's such a listen. It is a very thin line that you dance on with this, because you're infringing on rights and rights that I do believe are valid. I do believe in the right to own firearms. What kind? I think is completely up to debate, in my personal opinion. But I understand how people feel that shouldn't be up for debate. I get it. But you're going to have to give somewhere. And I feel like the same people that are saying no to any gun restrictions are the same people saying no to healthcare. And you can't have it both ways. If we have a mental illness issue, and we're all admitting that, especially if your argument is that it's not the guns that shoot people, and I agree, it's the people who do it, and it's people who have mental health issues. Okay, then give me free healthcare towards mental health then. And if you buck on me for that, and you get mad because it's going to raise your taxes, you're losing me, because it's either one thing or the other. And there has to be a compromise that if I give you your guns and I want to have
compromise is part of a civilized society,
free health care for counseling and all this stuff, and you're going to buck on me because it's going to cost me tax money, well, then there's no compromise there. you want it all this way, and you're not giving it back, and that's where I think the debate gets ridiculous, because there's got to be something that gives.
Often freedom is a disguised word for greed,
selfishness.
This is the most serious conversation we've had since I've been on.
Oh, I mean, we can move on to something silly here. Sort
I'm
of.
ready to switch it to Scooby Doo.
But well, I mean, it is.
I watched Scooby Doo last night, the movie.
It is something that people are talking about, and it is something to address. And there are no real debates between us. I mean, Scott, you say certain things I don't necessarily disagree with, even though I don't see it completely. I don't disagree, which is why if you want to.
Well, what I'm saying is already exists.
Right. I'm just saying that, if you want that and you're going to fight really hard on it, then give me a little leadway to have this. But the problem that I find,
I'm really not going to fight hard. I'm done with that. I'm done with that fight.
I'm saying in general.
My fight was on Facebook at one point, and I'm done.
Okay. Well, I'm talking about for the podcast. Just in general, when people have these debates, say, look, if you want the guns, what if I want, healthcare towards mental health? You're going to have to meet me halfway there in general, not just you. I'm saying general people that feel that, they should be able to own whatever gun they want, and the Second Amendment. I just feel like they're the same people that are saying they don't want to pay taxes for free mental health care towards people. And I think you have to give up something.
But if they had their druthers, they wouldn't pay taxes for roads either. So
yeah, I mean, and that's true too. There is taxes.
If we didn't have taxes for roads, we'd make roads. We find a way. Like this road out here in front of my house, the whole neighborhood got together and had it made.
How long is that road?
No, it's not even a mile.
There you go.
we would not have expressways.
It benefited everybody.
But why couldn't that be on a bigger scale?
But at the same time,
although that might form an organization, which would lead to a government.
At the same time, though, when it comes to roads, when it comes to fire departments, when it comes to police departments, when it comes to all of that, that's all your local taxes anyway. That's your property taxes and your sales tax. Mm-hmm. It's not federal tax. So
it's a ridiculous amount of taxes.
So yeah, I mean, you're paying those when you're paying your property tax and all that, you're paying for police and fire. A lot of people get that confused of what their taxes.
We're also giving Egypt $50 billion.
And if you're paying your local taxes, which are not, Georgia taxes aren't that bad. If you're going to do that, that's going to go to your educators and your police and your fire departments and your roads.
Yeah.
So it's not really federal tax that's going towards that. That's all local property tax stuff. But federal tax is blown. I mean, you just look at how much we spend on the military. I mean, we've had that discussion, Wick and I, before, where it's like, you're spending more than all other countries combined on the military. If you can't tell me that you can't take a certain percentage of that and put it into K through 12 education, I have a hard time believing you. So in certain aspects, you are right, Scott, that especially federal tax, it's really blown and wasted for sure. I mean, it's very, very mishandled. Which is,
I think it's we spend more on national defense than the following 15 countries combined.
All countries combined.
It's insane.
Yeah, it is insane. I mean, we pay more than Russia by far. And
don't give it out. Yeah, and all of our senators and congressmen, every elected official is paid when originally it was meant to be a second job, something that you do on the side.
Yeah.
Now it's something where you can take a lot of vacation time, but it's enough to. Yeah, it's a sweet gig. Makes you a lot of money. All you got to do is put on a show in front of the cameras.
I mean, listen, they're worth a lot of money that they weren't worth when they got there.
Once you're there and you make a statement or an issue, you can write a book.
Yeah,
like Bernie Sanders did.
Where they're making their money though is
writing books.
It's not from their salary or even their book deals.
No, and that's why
it's from soft money.
If I'm ever
made
king,
it's from soft money.
Well, okay, Obama. What did he do?
He wrote a book.
What is he worth now?
His book sales were crazy.
That's kind of an outlier, though, because he was president. We're talking about just congressmen.
Yeah, just people in government.
Yeah. I mean, every president's going to write a book.
I'm of the opinion that if you are an elected official, that you freeze your investments. You don't make stock purchases. You don't get to go and buy this stock because a lobbyist came in and gave you insider information. You look at every one of those people and how much they're worth, and it's almost always in stock money.
And beyond that,
Who was
they
it?
actually do it on the House floor.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Trump made
They do it on that.
Trump
House
made
floor.
everybody who was on his administration sign a contract saying they could not lobby for 5 years after being on his administration, which a lot of them do go
That's
into
great. I don't
lobbying.
think anybody should be allowed to lobby. I don't
Well,
think
lobbying
I
should
think
be
lobbyists
outlawed.
should be
Outlawed
absolutely
completely.
outlawed. Yep.
We live in
100%.
we
That's
live in
the
a-
biggest step that's ever been made to deal with the issue, though. You know,
What were we saying, Wick?
We live in an oligarchy.
I just say, look, if you're gonna you get a good salary, you get great health care, you can be here for as long as you get elected. You're gonna make you're gonna write a book, you're gonna do all this stuff, you're gonna make a ton of money. I don't want you investing as if you're an elected official. I don't want you investing in companies that are talking to you about laws and rules that they want to see changed.
Yeah, because that's
I
who
don't-
they're answering to.
I think your investment account. I think all your investment accounts should be frozen. You get whatever you put in there before, you can mess with that, but you're not putting any more money into investments in stocks, because I guarantee you, if you look at what all of them are worth, if you look outside of book
Mhm.
sales, it's 100% going to be in investments in stock market, and that's because they get information from people who come and visit them.
John Adams believed the speculative markets were immoral.
Yeah, well, I just think that if you're an elected official, they freeze your investment accounts. You know, they get a great retirement. My God, I mean, they
How
make
much
6 figures
money?
for the rest
How
of their life.
much godforsaken money do you need?
You make 6 figures there. You continue. I mean, you serve 4 years and still make 6 figures when you get out. Like, their retirement is insane,
Yeah.
it's absolutely insane. That it's almost like you can't go back to the private sector and make money. You can't create a business. You can't do. I mean, you get a 6-figure salary at retirement for serving 4 years in the government. It's like, that's insane to me. And they make all that money because lobbyists come in and drop hints. And you know what? Gun manufacturers do the exact same thing. They do the
of course
exact
they
same
do.
thing. You know,
They have to.
the NRA is actually this is why I'm not a member personally of the NRA. The NRA's money comes from gun manufacturers. It doesn't come from membership. They have a
Okay.
very low membership. It really comes from gun manufacturers giving them money to go up and fight for gun laws.
I think my dad canceled his membership when they banned gun stock, the
Bump stops.
bump stop. Yeah.
They
Bump
should-
stocks.
That was bump stops should have been banned. They should have
No,
never even got on.
He looks at it as a move towards one step towards abolishing the Second Amendment,
And
that's what the NRA was supposed to protect completely, in his eyes.
I think it depends on if you look at the unfortunately unspecific words of the Second Amendment leave so much
That's
for
the
debate.
problem.
Because
A well-regulated militia is in the first sentence.
yeah, if I tell you
We have those.
you can have a well-regulated militia through handguns and rifles, you leave the door open for, well, what is a well-regulated militia? Shouldn't they have the weapons
Right.
that the
The
military
language
has?
is far too vague.
Yeah, and we're stuck with that. And anybody who tries to change that's going to meet a lot of resistance, as they probably should. I mean, it's a catch-22. Because if you try to change what that definition of the Second Amendment is, there are going to be people, half of America is going to be furious.
Well, it's also important to point out when James Madison authored the Second Amendment, there was no standing army.
Oh yeah, that's true. So the militia was the army for America.
Right. Yeah, exactly. The
Mhm.
states would have, the army would be state militias.
Yeah. So
They were looking towards the future.
yeah,
We said, we have you. What do you have? Who did they ask that to? Was it Thomas Jefferson? What do we have? It might have been Ben Franklin, because I know he was just someone who contributed. But he says you have a democratic republic, and he said if you're lucky, you can keep it.
It's an experiment.
Yeah, it's a great experiment. Sure, absolutely.
Oh, these guys came from totalitarianism, you know.
Yeah, and religion was very involved in their government, and that's why they wanted separation of church and state. And that's a debate too, because a lot of people feel like religion shouldn't be involved with people who are elected, but I don't know how you do that. It's a quite impossible feat.
Oh, well, the founding fathers were pretty clear on the separation. Ben Franklin in particular.
Yeah. So, I know it's a rough, I know it's overwhelming situation that's going on for people, because it seems like now we're having these shootings.
Like I said, I think that that we have well organized militias. They are here. We don't see them because we're not a part of them.
What would you consider a well organized militia?
Well, are we talking about well organized?
When they wrote that Second Amendment, they expected everything to advance. The idea was to keep us level and even.
What were you saying, Wick? I'm sorry.
Well, are we talking about well organized or well regulated?
There you go.
Okay. Well, you wanted to do it. I was saying well organized. That's what I said. Not regulated.
What's the Second Amendment say?
Is that the language?
A well regulated militia, yes. The Second Amendment, verbatim, if I can keep from making spelling errors.
What are you writing the Second Amendment right now?
I'm currently authoring the Second Amendment. I'm James Madison. I've shrunk 3 inches. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of the free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Okay,
Yeah.
regulated by who?
That's where it gets complicated.
Well, considering its laws on the federal level.
Laws regulate the militia. Is that what we're
Right.
saying?
Well,
Was there a federal level?
the amendments are
when that was written?
The amendments are federal laws. I'm sorry?
There was we were united. That was a federal
Yeah, the
document.
Bill of Rights was written, I
1776.
believe in 1783.
83. Okay.
It was the Bill of Rights was an amendment to the initial Constitution by James Madison.
There you go. It's all done.
Okay.
Wick has written it all out. He's almost done rewriting the whole Second Amendment. What are you going to change in that, Wick? Did you say?
Well, I wouldn't change anything. I mean, he might have been more specific in the language he chose, or expanded a little bit on the definition of regulation.
Well, I mean, there's some.
Was it written to protect for the people to control the government rather than the government control the people?
I don't think it was about either.
Okay.
I think it was about defense.
Because that's the big argument.
Well, and
Well,
then,
I mean, the argument that gets hazy in that a federal law enacting people to overthrow the government, I don't think it was intended that way. I think it was intended as a defense measure rather than form a federal army. There would be regulated militias by state.
Mm-hmm.
That would be regulated by the federal government rather than form a standing army.
So every state,
which all the powers of Europe had at the time,
would have like a state defense force.
Exactly.
I
I'd
think
have to
Georgia
go
has a
into-
state defense force. Actually, did you know that?
I don't know.
Georgia-
I remember
Georgia-
they wrote the law that you could carry weapons into state buildings.
Can you carry in the state buildings?
You could carry. They wrote a law, and it was probably 7 years ago, that you can carry your weapon into state buildings in Georgia,
Really?
including like libraries, city hall, things like that.
Can you? You can't in banks though, can you?
Well, that's independent
Bigger
business.
Mhm.
That's an independent business.
Well, that's what that was kind of what led to this debate with me. And I don't know if I tagged Scott in it, but I tagged Wick, which was crazy to me, where they had the guy that went into Publix with all the guns and went to the bathroom. And one of the guys in the bathroom saw him with all these weapons. And he went out and told customer service, and they were like, oh, yeah, okay, we'll get around to it. And finally, somebody called the cops, who came out and arrested the guy. And then they put this on Facebook. So the story was basically this guy walks into a Publix and has all these weapons. It was like 12 guns or something crazy like that, all this ammunition. And went into the bathroom and got busted, got arrested, da-da-da-da-da. And all these people on Facebook are like, but he didn't break any law, and he didn't break a law. And this guy didn't do anything wrong. And I'm thinking, what world do we live in where we're going to make an argument for a guy carrying in 12 guns into a Publix? Like there is a point where even if you're trying to make a statement, it's a really bad, tasteless statement to make. If you're like, I'm going to carry all 12 of my weapons into Publix and go get ice cream, it's a bad statement, even if you were going to do nothing. And it's amazing to me that people, we actually had somebody that stood up and said, what I see is troubling to me. It's a red flag.
So were they in a bag?
No, I mean, I think he walked in with them in his hands.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
But like they're a private business, so they can kick you out.
Right. It's a private business. And then somebody's like, I didn't know that Publix didn't have a no gun law there. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Where are we at in this country where we have to debate over whether you walk in with 12 guns into Publix being a bad idea? It is a bad idea. And it scares people. And people have the right not to be afraid of you while you're walking down the ice cream aisle. I certainly wouldn't be in that Publix if I saw that, and I wouldn't dare be in there with my children. So with everything going on, even if it's a statement to be made about your right to have a weapon, strapping 12 guns to you and walking into your local Kroger and Aldi is a really stupid idea.
Wouldn't your initial response, even if
they don't understand the difference between your rights and the right of a private business.
This is the thing. Everybody, and I have run across, this is why I hate people. Everybody knows their rights, and not one person. Well, I won't say not one person. Everybody knows their rights. Very few know their responsibility. You have a responsibility. Your rights don't keep you from having that responsibility. If you want to make a point about guns, strapping 12 to you and walking into a grocery store is not a responsible way to make a point. Yeah. You may be protected under the law. You may have all these rights to do that if you want to do it, but it's a stupid way of conducting yourself.
It's the same with
It shows a lack of empathy for the situation that's been going on.
Yeah.
It shows that you have no understanding or idea what this means to other people.
Clearly, like I said, you don't give a shit about those around you.
No, you don't. You don't. And there's a certain responsibility you're not required to have, but should have within your soul and your well-being of being a person, that you don't want to scare children and you don't want to scare people when you walk into. Now, I believe that this guy was going to shoot up the Publix. Okay, but if your debate to me is, and I even told a guy, I said, I know you're trolling me because you're not this stupid. You've got to be trolling me. You've got to be messing with me because you're not this dumb. Because he kept going on and on about, well, he didn't break any laws. He didn't do anything wrong. And I just don't understand, with everything so sensitive that's happened now, that walking into a grocery store with 12 guns on you, or however many it was a lot.
He was arrested.
Shouldn't if you're pro Second Amendment, wouldn't you want people to behave responsibly?
Well, you're exactly right. I mean, if you are somebody who's trying to, there are some really great advocates for guns for the Second Amendment. There are some. I follow a lot of people that are advocates for the Second Amendment, and I think their message is great. But their message always comes with responsibility. That yes, you have these rights, but you also need to be a little responsible about what these rights infringe on other people. So if you want to set the standard for the correct behavior of being a gun owner, set the standard for the correct behavior. But walking down the street with weapons strapped to you to make a point that you should be able just to do it because it's America is a really bad example of being a rational human being. You know what I mean? And I don't get it. I don't.
And what
get
point are you trying to prove if you're doing it?
right that you can just do it? I mean, at the end of the day, you're scaring people.
You think it's gun advocates that are doing it, like the ones that are walking down the street and the cops pull over and they say, "This is my right, I can do this," and they're videoing it. And he goes, "I know, I just want to check you out, check your ID," because they're carrying a AR-15 right in front of them, walking down the street. Are they? Because the only response you're going to get out of that is people are going to get scared, and they're going to want more gun laws. So, are the people who are doing this actually anti-gun advocates trying to make a public statement? Or are they people who really want to say, "Hey, look, I can do this if I want to," because that doesn't make any sense.
Hate to break it to you, the left just ain't that organized. They're not. They're just not.
Yeah, I think they are.
Maybe they are. I just think I do know gun nuts, and I do think that they would strap guns to themselves and walk down the street to get the point across. I just
because that only hurts their cause.
Absolutely, it does.
They don't care. They're not thinking that.
But here's the argument, though, too.
Or the left is thinking that, or not the left, but people who are against guns are thinking that, and they want to scare people.
I'm watching people on Facebook. I could probably go back to the thing now and look at how many people have written. I started to ignore it, but there were people that were saying, "Hey, he should be allowed to carry as many guns as he wants into Publix," and they were upset that he was arrested.
It's the same as the First Amendment on Facebook. People say, "Well, I have the right to say whatever I want," but Facebook's a private business; they can do what they want.
Right. But I think even if you walked into a government building or anywhere where that right was protected, I just don't think it's a good idea to.
It's not a good look. It's just not a good look.
It's not a good look on your cause. You know what I mean?
No, that's my point.
Yeah. But I just don't understand the people who argue that it is a good cause, that argue that it is responsible, argue that he shouldn't have had anything happen to him. He broke no laws. So now we have to wait until he loads 12 guns in the bathroom and comes out and shoots 12 people before those people accept that he was irresponsible. And I don't buy that. I think there's a level of irresponsibility that's on the surface of things when you walk into a grocery store with that many weapons. You've already taken the irresponsibility into it. And I think he should have been arrested. Listen, you get arrested, then you go to court and you prove whether you're right or wrong. People will judge it. Your peers will decide whether or not it's the right thing or wrong thing. And you either walk or you go to prison. That's just how it works when you walk the line. But I think that when you argue that this should be completely an unarrestable offense and this is an infringement on our rights, and all, I think it's a bunch of bull malarkey. I do. And I think there are going to be more people that are going to test the system and try to do that and walk around and strap guns to themselves with no intention to do anything. They just want to see what's going to happen. It's the same people that go through roadblocks and want to refuse to give the person the officer their license and what's your license number? What's your badge number? What's your badge? It's just ridiculous. There's a point where you're proven a bottomless ethical point that makes you just look like an idiot. And I just don't understand how some people can defend it. Now, if he had one gun and he's wearing it on his waist, and he's a licensed, he has a license to carry it, I don't have an issue with that because he's protected and he's not overdoing it. He's not going at it at an irresponsible level. Now, you change that completely and you say he walks in with it in his hand. It's irresponsible. And thus, I think you should be detained until they find out what your goal was in that situation.
So what was the guy in Publix arrested for? What was his charge?
I believe, well, first of all, Publix is private property, so he can get arrested for trespassing.
So he didn't leave when they asked him to?
Hold on, let me see. let's see. Okay, man arrested in Atlanta grocery store with 6 guns. I'm sorry, it wasn't 12. I apologize, but he was wearing body armor. Not another good look. Not a good look.
And he went in the bathroom.
He went to the bathroom with his guns. Had a total of 6 firearms in his possession. They still don't know why he had that many weapons. When this story was done, this is just on the heels of 10 people being shot in a grocery store. He faces 11. Hold on, I'm going to answer your question. He's facing 11 charges, 5 counts of criminal attempt to commit a felony, and 6 counts of possession of firearms or knife during commission or attempt to commit certain felonies. So according to this, he was going to shoot those guns.
So they have what, like Facebook posts?
I'm sorry.
It's going to be hard.
So
to
he had
prove.
Facebook posts and things like that they.
I don't see that, but it just says he faced 11 charges, including 5 counts of criminal attempt to commit a felony and 6 counts of possession of firearms. So if he had possession of firearms, it sounds like he didn't have a license to have them.
So at the end of the day, it's just a tell it to the judge kind of thing.
Yeah, tell it to the jury.
Yeah, tell the jury, who's probably not going to be too kind on it. I mean,
well, I would probably go in front of a judge rather than a jury on this particular case.
I don't get it.
Unless you have evidence like that you put out there that was your intention. If you're just carrying.
Yeah. But if he has a history,
get in trouble.
And I don't see this on here, but he could have a history of mental illness or some issue.
Almost guaranteed.
Probably. It does seem to fit the
body armor.
The body armor seems to kind of tell you that he's expecting shots back.
Well, how old is he?
He is a 22.
Is he a veteran?
No.
22.
Rico Marley, 22 years old.
Those 22-year-olds have enough money to buy all this weaponry. I didn't have shit when I was 22.
I know. I don't. These things are expensive too, man.
Yeah.
I know a 18-year-old. No, she's 19, working 3 jobs right now. She's working at FedEx full time, working at Fun Spot when she gets off there, and working with me.
He was.
She could have.
He was originally. He's really originally charged with reckless conduct. But that might be old stuff. This is from 3 days ago. I'm trying to see if there's something that was a little bit more recent on the topic, but I don't see it. So forgive me. But I'm sure there's been other charges, or there's been a clearer picture painted somewhere. Of course, now you're in the weekend, so there's probably not a lot of information coming out. But listen, I just think you have some responsibility. I'm sorry.
This just happened.
Happened. Let's see, March 25th.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize it was that soon.
Yeah, but it's just you have response. If you're a gun owner and you believe in the Second Amendment, just have some couth about you to know that all eyes are on you and your behavior. And if you want to win people over, this is not really carrying guns into public. This is not the way to do it. But I got to think that if he was wearing body armor, Wick, he's got to be having a plan here.
Yeah,
probably just somebody. It could be somebody that's just that believes there's a revolution coming, which there's a lot of people who do.
At the Publix at Atlantic Station.
He's probably just showing himself.
The battlefield will be Atlantic Station, Publix.
Yeah, he's probably just showing what he's got.
Bring your daughter to the slaughter.
Well, if that's the case, he wasn't very smart because he got arrested.
He was the only one that showed up.
Yeah, he got arrested, but we'll see what happens in court. But I'm just saying it could be a lot of things. It could be just somebody like showing like what people have out there and what they're capable of having to take care of themselves if something does break out.
4chan dark web group that's like March 25th. We meet at
Atlantic Station,
and the battle will be ridiculous. There will be a bloodbath.
I'm curious, like what his he's the only one. What are his beliefs? Is he?
What if he came early?
Is he just a second Amendment guy, or is he Antifa, or is he?
What if
Well,
they?
if he was
a
intending to be a
lunatic.
mass shooter, he's a lunatic. Yeah.
What if
We don't
they
know
were
yet.
saying let's meet at 1 a.m. He gets confused and meets at 1 p.m. And then he gets arrested for going in to take a leak. And the rest of them are like, well, let's not meet at Publix now. we won't have the battle at Publix.
He was a
choose
patsy.
Start choosing. this guy, this
But
guy's
it would be
being too early.
what I was saying was it's a show of power. It could be a show of power.
For
A show
him?
of like what we're capable of. If you want to, because like Antifa and everybody's they're shouting civil. There's going to be a civil war. We will fight you. We will kill you. Trump supporters, we know who you are.
I do find it weird, the hatred for Trump people. Like it's just, you know what I mean? Like it's just people that, I mean, for the most part, Trump people I think are pretty harmless. I mean, you have a small group that stormed the Capitol. Sure, things got out of hand.
That was Antifa.
But you know what? On with that situation, I saw a video that didn't make the news of a lot of those Trump supporters asking the police to get involved and stop it before it gets worse.
It's still on bitshoot.com. You can see it. They were trying to stop. They were trying to stop them from going in. And they were yelling that they were Antifa.
Shouldn't be there. It should be in. It should be in the media that there were people that were asking the police to step in and stop it before it got
deleted
worse.
from YouTube. But if you go to BitChute's a peer-to-peer video sharing site.
Yeah,
and you can find everything there.
Is that where they have movies and stuff?
No, it's just like
then
YouTube
it's
videos.
Not worth it. It's not worth it then. But
I can hook you. I can hook you up with that later.
All right, but yeah, I mean, you're gonna have bad seeds, but I think do I think there's gonna be a civil war? No, I think everybody's just too lazy. That's my honest opinion.
No. The media is killing it now. They were promoting it, but now Trump's out of office, and now everything's great.
I do think that's
Except
weird.
COVID.
I will say that I do see that where like it's like the immigration thing is like it's kind of like the same thing that Trump was dealing with, and then Biden does it, and people they definitely like worded a little bit differently with Biden because I think Trump made so many enemies in the media that they of course I think very obviously were pushing for Biden to be elected.
Well, they made
because they had an enemy in the West.
It's absolutely true. The media is controlled by the left. Not necessarily controlled because there's obviously conservative outlets that are huge. Sure. I mean, you can't ignore Fox News, but that just goes to the nature of liberals versus conservatives. Liberals are more apt to major in the humanities in college.
Yeah.
That's just the way it, and conservatives are more apt to major in business.
But I mean, as somebody who leans left, I mean, do you see, like, especially the immigration thing, do you see it the way that I see it, where it does feel like with the immigration thing, it was like this, horrible Trump organization that, oh my God, what the pieces of crap that are doing this to families. And then Biden's like, dude, we got an emergency down there. We got a real problem down there, and this guy's trying to do what he can. And it's like, well, we're going to have to do what we were doing before I got here until we figure something out. I mean, it does seem like one kind of gets the slap on the wrist and the other one gets the wrist broken to me.
Oh, I think that's absolutely true.
Yeah. It's just weird.
What was it? How much money was it they sent that he just recently sent to ICE to get all these immigrants hotel rooms? And it was going to pan out to be $75,000 per bed.
I don't know how that would cost that much.
Oh, well, no, that's just how you divvy it up based on the immigrants on the border. And it was like so many $1 trillion. And it divvied up to $75,000 a bed, which my comment to that when he posted, a friend of mine posted that was, well, I bet a majority of that money is going to ICE to get control of the border.
Probably, but I live in a place where there are plenty of hotels that I can get for $20 a night. So I wouldn't stay in them, but you know what? They're probably a better accommodation than where they are now. Trust me, there's there's some bad hotels out there that are like $25 a night.
Well, you know, there's
They pay
also
75
there's
grand for a-
saying there's money not being accounted. There's money that's being spent somewhere else.
there's
and we're
also
not
the
hearing about
vantage
it.
there's also the vantage point of we become enraged that politicians lie, but then again we put them in situations where they have to get elected.
People don't really want to know the truth.
Yeah, they don't really want to know. It's like one, you know, Obama and Guantanamo Bay.
You can't handle the truth.
Yeah, they can't handle. People are not capable of processing the complexity that is that job.
Yeah, you know, listen. It's like we cut up about aliens before. If they exist and the government knows they exist, it's best we don't know anything about it because people would flip out and be stupid. They would do ridiculous things. They're already doing ridiculous things right
It's
now.
been proven. Our brains absorb something like 80 or 90% more information than we are capable of processing. And it just shoves that
like-
that information
Is it like mental
from
floss
your
where
membrane.
It's just like mental
and
floss.
then we create
one ear out the
stories.
other.
Yeah, then we create stories so we can get on with our lives.
I think I remember something about this that you guys were talking. Like somebody brings up something like, "Yeah, I remember something about that," and then they tell you it, and it's completely wrong because they couldn't process what they were being told.
Oh, and I forget, it may have been 2020. This was years ago, but they took these people out on a hike, and one of the hikers was not part of the test, was not part of the experiment, and he said he saw something. I forget what it was. Maybe it was a man with a gun. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know what it is. And there were like 10 or 12 people in the group with him. By the time they got back and debriefed everybody, every single person in that group saw this man with a gun.
Even though they didn't. Even though that
Nobody
person
saw it.
did not exist.
Did not exist.
And
And those people weren't lying.
they really believed it.
They really believed it.
I mean,
You can't even trust your own mind.
we're kind of advanced farm animals at the end of the day.
Yeah, we really, yeah.
I mean, that's why I just don't. I know people.
We have more intelligence than we're capable of marshaling.
right.
fear-
It's like it's almost like it's wasted on most of us.
Yeah, it really is.
You know? Like it's just a waste of intelligence on most people.
Yeah, I'm just
but-
going to watch Squidbillies.
That's right. Squidbillies, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. I love that show. We were talking about that earlier. Unknown Henson probably should be on my national.
Never heard
treasure-
of them.
Should be on my national treasure list. Unknown Henson, although not by a lot of people's standards now because he got.
Does he
fired.
tour Atlanta?
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sure
he
played
tours
the Star
Atlanta.
Bar.
He looks
before
like
they
he
tore it
played
down.
the Star Bar.
Yeah,
I
he
was just
tours.
saying.
He does a lot of
But it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
What doesn't?
Star
Star
Bar.
Bar.
No. It's still there.
Oh, it
Serious?
may
Because
still be
my
there,
buddy
but
was going there. He said he was going there. There's a guy
Did
at
they-
work saying he was going there the other night.
Did they reopen it?
He said he was going there to see a punk show because that was what he that's what he grew up on.
That may have been Mama's Country Showcase.
I remember Mama's. It's got graffiti all over it now. It's still shut
Yeah.
down, but the primetime sign's still there
Yeah,
because Dion bought it.
I remember people going to
Star
Mama's. which
Bar.
was-
Yeah, you're right. Star Bar reopening in Little 5 Points.
There you go.
under new
Scott wins that
management.
debate.
Yep.
Congratulations,
Nice.
Scott.
It's a good one to win too.
It's
Yeah.
normal.
Wick
Based on the Elvis toilet.
sucks. Wick sucks. Scott rules.
Well, they still have the shrine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
No, that's what I was asking. I don't know if they do or not.
Oh man, that was key.
I know Unknown Henson does play the Masquerade, which Scott and I have frequently gone to, right, Scott? The Masquerade?
Have you driven
Oh,
by
yeah.
the old one now?
No, it's gone now,
Sad.
isn't it? Yeah.
We went to the old one. I have not been to the new one.
What was the last show you saw at the historic Masquerade, Scott?
It was a band called Pinback.
You know, the last time I went inside the Masquerade was when we saw Vanilla Ice.
Hell yeah, man! I think
So-
I called you from the work phone.
He does. He called me and he goes, "You're not going to believe."
No, you knew. I didn't know.
Oh, did I call you? I think you called me.
I called you just because like I would get bored. I was 20 something, so you're still calling all your friends for no reason.
right.
Okay.
Hey, what are you doing?
He called me at
Yeah.
work and he
Yeah.
goes, I don't think anybody else would go except for Scott. I knew Scott would go.
No, I go. he goes, hey, Vanilla Ice is playing at the Masquerade, and I was like,
Now wait, hold
and
on,
then
let's
he
set
goes,
the stage.
this is what he said. He goes, dude, it's Vanilla Ice. Go, yeah, you're right. We're going.
All right, so we got to paint the picture here. This is 97, 90.
Is this the metal thing he was doing?
No, don't ruin it for us, man. Damn it.
99.
99. Okay. So I want to go see Vanilla Ice. And what I thought was, Scott calls me. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing, man. Vanilla Ice. Let's go see him. And he's like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to. I was like, man, it's Vanilla Ice. We got to go. And what we thought we were going to see was Vanilla Ice doing one of two things. Maybe one of three things. One was, doing his shtick where, he was going to be Vanilla Ice and rap and, make fun of himself, be kind of a caricature of himself and, know that he was a joke and everybody was paying to come see him make a fool of himself. Or he had kind of reinvented himself as like a hardcore rapper, kind of like what MC Hammer did when he decided he was going to go like gangster rap and, try to paint that image that he was a gangster. I don't know if y'all remember that. 2 pumps and a bump.
I didn't know.
You don't remember MC Hammer trying to go like hardcore?
Pumps and a bump. Pumps and a bump.
I just remember the baggy. I remember the baggy pants, man. That's it.
Okay, so MC Hammer tried to do that when he became kind of like a joke. He had his own cartoon and everything, and when I guess the rap community kind of turned on him, he tried to do gangster. And I think he was even with Death Row. I want to say that he was with Death Row. I may be wrong about that, but if so, that
it wouldn't surprise me.
I think he was. Now I'm gonna have to look up and see if
Suge Knight is not opposed to money.
No, I mean money's money, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. MC Hammer with Death Row. I hope this is true and I didn't just. Yep. He was it looks like he was signed. Yep, he signed with Death Row Records in 1995. So anyway, so he tried to reinvent himself. So that's kind of what we thought. I thought we're going to go see Vanilla Ice. He's going to try to be real, like he's going to try to be, gangster rap. This is what we're going to see, or he's going to make fun of himself, or he's going to take himself too serious. This guy get to the Masquerade, and we're sitting there, and there's a couple of people there, and we're like, man, and I remember us talking, and he was packed. Like, what's that?
It was packed.
It was packed. Yeah, there was a lot.
I mean, it wasn't as packed as I've seen it, but like we were in the very back near where the bar area is.
Yeah,
that's where it faded out.
And it was a unusual group of people for Vanilla Ice, and so Scott and I are sitting there, and I'm like, what do you think this is going to be? And he was like, I don't know. He's like, I'm hoping he comes out in sequin jumpsuits and raps, because we really wanted to see like him do his thing. Dude, we get there, the lights go down. And all of a sudden, it sounds like a Korn concert. I mean, drop C guitar chords. We're like, what is this? Must be the opening band. It's got to be the opening band. The freaking music drops like 2 octaves below a normal. It was like, and he comes out, and he is now like this heavy metal rapper that comes out and just. I mean, he's lights screaming. Up the place. He's screaming. He's throwing shit. He's like moshing, all this stuff. Me and Scott are just standing there with our mouths open in amazement because of all of the scenarios. This was not one of them. And I mean, he's just like, fuck yeah, no. And we're like, we don't know what is going on. But you know what? We had the best time. He did at one point, and he goes, now we're going to go back a little old school. And he did 2 songs of rap. I forgot. The one was his second most famous song. I can't remember what it was. Then he goes, dun, 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 dun. No.
Dun, 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 and you're like, cool, he's going to do the old school version.
Yeah, okay.
But no, it was like after that goes through like 2 cycles, it's boom, boom, stood over, crazy.
Like the whole place is shaking. Ice, baby. I mean, it was like boom, 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 boom.
That may be the worst song ever, sampling one of the best songs ever.
Well, I was
It's amazing how
hyped
popular
up
that was.
because
Yeah.
I was at a Vanilla Ice concert and I thought I was about to hear the old school Ice Ice Baby.
Yeah, Scott was like,
Yeah.
I can't believe this.
And I look over in the corner and there's one of our good friends from high school who just loves to party. He goes by the last name Bass, standing on
Oh,
a
yeah.
chair. He's
Yeah,
standing on a chair.
Yeah.
He's got his friend Brendan with him.
Yeah. Yeah, they came to it. We were like,
And I was like, this, I would totally expect to find you here.
yeah, it was crazy, man. It really blew me away that Vanilla Ice
$10.
Yep,
I
$10.
saw the Foo Fighters open for Mike Watt
Who?
at the
Exactly.
Masquerade.
Yeah.
I
Masquerade
don't
was
know who Mike Watt
crazy
is.
place, man.
He was
But
in the Minutemen punk rocker, but the Foo Fighters' first tour, 1995,
no,
opening
yeah,
for
there you
Mike
go.
Watt.
95 was a good time.
Yeah.
But
They need-
yeah. It's
Oh,
yeah.
look at this. So I came up with the best. We were talking about the Super Bowl halftime shows, and I came up with the best Super Time half bowl show
Super time,
for extras.
Super time half bowl.
Huh?
You said Super Time half bowl shows.
Okay, Super Bowl halftime show.
I
There you
have-
go.
I
There you
have
go. Oh,
seen
yeah,
all the
that's worth-
Super Time half bowls.
We can edit that out.
Edit that. Yeah, please edit that. All right, so
I'm gonna leave it in. I'm not editing shit.
so how about center stage? Grand piano comes up. It's Elton John plays Tiny Dancer. Then all of a sudden we got the Beastie Boys come out. One of them's dead. Run DMC. One of them's dead. He fills in the spot for Mike D. Those three come out. They do a Beastie Boys song, and then they do Walk This Way, Run DMC's version from Aerosmith. They start playing, and then Aerosmith comes out of the stage, and they help finish it off. You know, that song. And then you have
So that was one Super Bowl halftime show.
no, I'm not done yet. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is his
Yes,
dream.
keep
Then
album.
you have
All
the
right.
Pointer Sisters come out. One of them's dead, so you put Beyonce in there. That ties the gap between like the millennials and everybody else, and old school. You have them do some like tonight we're gonna make it happen. Whatever they do their song, and then the Foo Fighters pop up and start doing. I got another confession to make.
This is I don't even remember this.
No, I'm making this up.
He's making this
Oh
up.
my god. I thought this was a real halftime show.
No.
I'm like looking on Google, like, when did Elton John play with the Beastie Boys?
No,
And it's
no,
like,
no.
what are you talking about? That's never happened in the
Nobody's
history
done
of
this.
music.
No, nobody's done this. And then they do it, and then they close it out collaborating with Elton John on the final song, and they do like "Candle in the Wind."
Who?
Foo Fighters and
Elton John.
Elton John. Yeah,
I find it weird that Elton John's been completely trampled on by bands that were probably less than him in reality. So the Beastie Boys, Aerosmith. I hate Aerosmith.
yeah, but whatever. That would be a badass halftime show.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you can
I
make
put a
that
lot of thought
happen,
into this.
it seems like it because it was
Yeah.
just like one surprise after another. It's like a Scooby-Doo haunted house where there's just trap doors everywhere,
Which
There's
I did
some-
see the movie last night.
fog machines and schematics and trap doors and people that are dead finishing other dead people songs. And I got really lost there. But I
Yeah,
appreciate you straightening that out for me. It's
no, this is
it now
this
makes
is my
perfect
idea.
okay.
Would that not be a great halftime show compared to what we've had in the past? 10, 20 years?
No, I don't know that it would be that great.
Really? I think it'd be great.
How has
Um,
Elton John not done a halftime show?
I don't know. Probably because it's kind of hard to get pumped up to Candle in the Wind.
He's got some rockers.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. He does do a little Crocodile Rock. He could just do Crocodile Rock and just extend it over and over again.
The bitch is back.
Yeah. Okay.
It-
Yeah, we
it
can do that
it
for
can be
Super Bowl show.
sentimental and emotional too.
Did you know he is the highest selling artist of the 70s? Of the biggest, highest selling decade of music. He's number one
and of the 70s?
of the 70s.
I just bought his album. Well, it was about 5 years ago, but it's still on my
Ooh.
phone.
I'm trying to think of who would have been popular in the 70s.
Pink Floyd, Zeppelin,
Yeah, but I would see Pink Floyd being more underground. Zeppelin for sure.
Oh, Pink Floyd sold the wall.
Yeah, but
The Wall and Dark Side
I think that's
together sold 60 million records.
when I think Pink Floyd, I think I don't know how to word it. I want to say a specialty band where like it's not pop. You know, it's not going to ever be. I mean, now it is just because of the retro stuff, but it's never going to be like this huge radio play stuff. You know what I mean? It doesn't appeal to a wide majority of people. Whereas Elton
Yeah, but
John,
in the 70s you didn't have to. Zeppelin never was never on the radio either.
you don't think so? I think Zeppelin was probably on the radio a good bit.
Not that much.
As much as the Stones were.
I don't know how much
what
the
else are you
Stones were
playing
on
in
the
the
radio.
What else are you playing in the 70s? I guess disco.
Disco.
How are the Bee Gees not there? The Bee Gees should be there.
Yeah, probably, but they didn't come till the late 70s.
Yeah, that's true too. And they were Australians, and you know.
Yeah, but Elton John was like, Jesus Christ, huge.
Good
He's
stuff.
also been famous.
I mean, like
Sorry.
the newest generation.
I was saying he
knows
was
who Elton
fat.
John is.
Oh, I see. I know what you did there. I know what you did there.
What was that, Scott?
The newest generations. I mean, Y and X. They know now. Y and Z. They know who Elton John is. They love his songs.
Oh yeah, he's
Do they?
huge. Yeah.
I don't know. You know, I mean, I got into a debate with somebody on Facebook, which is probably another episode, but somebody said, and it kind of cracked me up a little bit. I mean, you know, just because I thought it was such a stupid statement, which was the reason kids are depressed today is because they have to do a lot of homework. And I was like, wait, what? And they were like, yeah, you know, like you should see their homework load and they work part-time jobs. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it's every generation. And I give you,
It's that.
well, this is what yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. I said, I think it's because their pop culture freaking sucks is what I think it is. They have no rebellion. They have nothing,
none.
no rebellion, no art to really be involved in. Their movies are remakes of our old movies and our old TV shows. Their music, there's no music revolution for them to be involved in. And they have no ability to communicate with there are kids right now, teenagers, who have anxiety making a phone call because they're not used to talking to people. They're used to texting and chatting and instant messaging with people.
Yeah. Well, that takes me back like when I used to call you on my break from Delta.
Mm-hmm.
Just say, what are you doing? Hey, what are you doing?
Yeah. Young people now have an anxiety problem with having to deal with a person to person, eye to eye. They don't want to do it. It scares them. You tell a young person that they're going out to maybe eat with a friend, and that friend is going to bring a friend they don't know. That kid will have anxiety over meeting the new person because their whole life is in this bubble of communication through computers and electronics. And I was like, that's the problem. Their pop culture sucks, and they don't have any ability to relate one-on-one and have a connection with people, and they have anxiety over doing so. So this one teenager pops on, and they were like, "Ha, that's not true. We have great pop culture," which you don't. We have great pop culture.
I have this argument with the girls all the time.
The problem is that we live in a world of we live in a terrible time. And we live in a time of war, and we live in a time of fear, and we live in a time of being scared of something happening to us. And I go, no, dear. You're not going to convince me that in 2021, your life is any harder than the boomer generation who went through seeing their president killed on TV.
Yeah.
You had a harder time than people.
And then 10 years later, they saw a president get in a helicopter after he resigned and just fly away.
Right. I'm sure in
there's no draft.
The Civil War was a difficult time for teenagers, I'm sure. The American Revolution. And I said, not only that, but let's go into the 60s and 70s where you're scared to death that the news is going to pop your number up to be drafted.
Mm-hmm.
So
was it every Sunday night?
I believe so. Can you imagine? I mean, can you imagine a draft where you're just like, holy shit, please don't pull my number. And your number gets hit and you just have to grow up instantly because life has changed for you. And you go to Vietnam and you see all those terrible things. or the Korean War. And it's like, don't paint history as if everything was really great for everybody else and it just sucks for you because you have school shootings. And I mean, that does suck. Before I get hate, it does suck. I do understand that. I have kids in school. It's a scary thing every day. But at the same time, don't try to convince me that your world is so harmful, because I got news for you. Almost by every standard, it's one of the best times to be alive, right? I mean, everybody, you're at your healthiest. I mean, we just got a vaccine for COVID. You know what I mean? Like, and within like what, 11 months?
I hate to say this, but I think we had it better off than they do. We
did. Oh yeah. Now listen, that 80s, the 70s kids, we had it great. I mean, we really did. I'm thinking of all the bad things that happened through the 80s and 90s. I mean, right until we hit September 11th. I mean,
Challenger was the worst thing that happened.
Challenger was probably like one of the worst things we dealt with. I remember Columbine.
We watched live in our first grade class on television.
Yeah. I mean, the Columbine explosion was probably the most horrific thing, but that was still a distance away from
the Columbine explosion.
I'm sorry. The space shuttle explosion.
That's what it's going to be in like 100 years.
Yeah.
It's going to be the space shuttle crashed into Columbine High School.
Yeah. God. But my apologies. But
revisionist history.
You're not going to convince me that your life is so hard, and that I remember right now I'm going to college full time and I'm working a full time, and I'm like, yeah, that's life. That's what happens to you. That's called growing up. It's not for you to be afraid of that. It does suck, but you should embrace it, because guess what? When you get out of college, there are no spring breaks. There are no winter breaks. There are no Christmas breaks. You just work. It sucks
forever.
And to say that that's why your life is depressing, I think we have a misunderstanding of what people are really viewing. I think people are really going through depression and sadness. But I think sometimes you just really need a good whack in the head to be like, you know what? You're full of shit. I get you feel the way you feel. And that's why we should have the ability for these kids to go get counseling. So
we also need to teach them coping mechanisms, for God's sakes.
Well, it's our fault. I mean, I'm 44. I had my kids late, so I throw myself in there. And I think that you protect your kids. You don't want them to be hard, but you're also giving them everything that they want, because maybe your parents didn't give you the attention you felt like you got. I get all of that, but there's a mistake that's made when you're sheltering them to the point where they think going to school and working hard is a depressive action, when it's really just life. Now, if you want to tell me that we shouldn't live life that way, I had somebody tell me one time, we shouldn't be working the way that we work. That is not what, if there's a creator, that's not what the intention was. But we felt like we've had to work 40 hours a day, 40 hours a week, or sometimes more, to make ends meet. We chase, trying to keep up with the Joneses. That's not what life's about. And I agree. I do agree with that. Like, I don't think that life is supposed to be, a job slave situation. But millions of people do it, and they don't want to jump off a building. You know what I mean? And it's just, I think there's just a perception.
I don't know. There's a lot of, I think that does breed a lot of mental health issues.
You mean
working too much?
Oh, sure.
No,
sure. I mean, I do believe that.
I don't think, I don't think we can like reach our full, God, I sound like our full spiritual potential.
What's wrong with that?
I don't know.
What are you embarrassed for?
No, I do believe that, if you're in survival mode financially, ceaselessly.
Well, and I'll go a step further with you on that. I think that we all spiritually have something that we love. There's always something you're passionate about. And when you have to work and when you have to go to school and it pulls you away from the things that you're passionate about, or maybe you enjoy, like, let's say that you're really good at art and painting, and you can't really do painting. You can't have that release. You can't fulfill your soul and your spiritual desire that makes you feel whole, because you've got to go work 80 hours.
Well, that's also kind of a cultural issue too. In America, if you're not a successful artist, you're not an artist.
Right.
and that's not true in Europe and
Yeah.
many other cultures.
And it's really hard to make a living as an artist too.
Yeah, it's very difficult and almost impossible. And we only celebrate, and then we only celebrate the ones that break through, and then we over celebrate them.
Yeah. Oh, that's for sure.
And
That's for
then
sure.
and then somebody dies, and 15 years later we recognize their genius. But as they're living, their life is miserable.
They're starving to death.
They're
Yeah,
starving
sure.
to death. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe that's it. We talked about a little bit last week about universal income. Maybe that changes things when the robots take over, and the government pays you to just let the robots do work. Maybe that'll change. Maybe we'll see the return of the artistic.
Well, I think it should be something like in Europe they have patronage. People underwrite you,
Mhm.
and just because they believe it's what you're doing has if you're an
Meaning.
artist has meaning and value, and enriches everybody's life.
I had an ex-girlfriend who she has 3 daughters, and they're all ballerinas, big time into ballet,
Ballerinaism.
ballerinaism,
They're ballerinas.
and she's a big time socialist. She takes her kids to socialist meetings, and the only thing I can think of is like, say, Russia when it was the Soviet Union. Ballet was huge there. Maybe it still is. I don't know. But
They're the best in the world. Yeah.
the government paid them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And is that why she wants to move towards socialism? Is because it pays the arts?
It's
that-
an interesting debate because you probably would have a more artful society if it was a socialist society, because then people could explore their passions.
I mean, we're the only civilized country in the world. I mean, of the higher end civilized countries that doesn't have a national theater.
Yeah, because I think it's so monetary now. I mean,
Yeah.
Art is so.
If it can't survive, I mean, there's
Yeah.
so many instances in human history where, such great art that alters people's perception of the world
Absolutely.
comes from government underwrites, really.
There's pros and cons. I'm not a big socialist, but I could definitely see the argument for if you have a society that's, or if you have a society that's a universal income because robots have taken over, which I believe will
Yeah.
happen. I think robots will take over, and I think if you need to get paid because the robots are doing your work, then you're probably going to explore your more soulful interest, your painting and your writing and your music and things that computers can't do.
What if it's to be a warrior?
Or you can be a warrior. There's nothing wrong with being a pirate these days. I think I have always said that, and I mean this, and my wife thinks it's a joke, but the joke's going to be on her. If I ever win the lottery, and I'm talking like 20 million, I am building a pirate ship and I am living on it because I think it's one of the coolest things in the world to think about, living on a pirate ship and just sailing
Why
around.
don't you just move to Tampa and be homeless?
Homeless?
And you just live in the pirate ship at the stadium.
You mean at the stadium?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. They'll let me in. How about like in 20 years, they found a guy that's been living on the pirate ship in the Tampa Bay Stadium? That would be
And
hilarious.
it's
firing the cannons,
yeah.
firing the cannons at night. They're like, God, we thought it was a ghost this whole time. It's just some homeless dude that's firing cannons at night because he thinks he's a pirate, and then sleeps all day through the games. And doesn't.
I
even
always
let the games
thought. Do you
happen.
remember?
Or
in
even
Mary-
better yet, hold
remember
on.
in Mary Poppins?
He thinks that the games are people trying to storm his ship.
Ooh, Mary Poppins.
You know what I mean? And so he
No.
goes to he pulls a sword out and just starts going to battle with fans. That would be hilarious.
You remember in Mary Poppins, the neighbor that had the ship on top of his house?
That's it. I was trying to remember what
He
that was.
was a
He had a cannon,
retired.
right?
Yeah. I always thought that was the coolest dude I had ever seen.
I think it would be great, man. I'm going to build a full-fledged, 100% old school pirate ship. She's like, well, you'll go by yourself. And I was like, we'll see, so be it. But you need a lady out there on the seas.
You're gonna need some citrus.
That's right. That's right. For the old STDs. That's correct, sir.
The scurvy.
That's right. Netflix has this new pirate. Have y'all watched this new pirate show on Netflix? It's pretty good.
No.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. I like pirate stuff. I do. I think it's an interesting.
What was it? Black Sails. I didn't like that.
You didn't like Black Sails?
No.
I thought it was pretty good.
I got really into pirates when I went on a vacation.
You were 4?
When I was younger, but we went up to the Outer Banks of North Carolina, and there was so much pirate history and pirate lore that
It's so cool to me.
yeah.
I just like I can imagine I can just like because I daydream a lot and drift off, especially at times that are important. And I often daydream. Like my wife, we went out to eat today, and my wife was like, "Why are you just staring out the window?" And I told her I was thinking about the bushes out there, but really I was thinking about pirate ships. And,
Were you really?
Just tell
she's
her.
she's like, you're like lost. I feel like you're not listening to me, and we don't have a lot of time to ourselves often, and we're here eating dinner at O'Charlie's, a romantic place.
Sorry, I'm thinking about pirates.
And you're staring out the window, and I was like, oh, I'm just thinking about the bushes because I was staring at the bushes, but I didn't want to tell her.
I'm thinking
about living on a pirate ship because it's kind of thrilling to think about living on a pirate ship. And so I've decided once I have enough money, if I ever have enough money, I will commission the build of a great pirate ship. Cannons, everything. It's got to have.
Will your pirate ship have internet?
Oh no, I don't. You can get a hotspot.
So you'll get internet.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah,
Well, we have
course.
Starlink.
So in your in a previous, if you had been not in a previous life, but if you had been born 200 years ago, would you have wound up a pirate?
Oh, easily. I like to pillage things. I like to set fire to random items. I like shiny things, so gold would have been huge for me.
Would you have been?
They also raped women, though.
Yeah. Do you know what slick legging is?
No, I don't know that I want to know what slick licking is.
Slick legging was an old pirate tradition. You might benefit from knowing about. Is one pirate would grease his leg up.
God, I don't know this going.
And the other pirate,
before you tell
and the
the
other
story,
pirate would wrap himself around the other pirate's greased up leg
and hump it
and please himself.
Oh my God, no! But I mean,
this is a real thing.
This is the real pirate.
Times calls for desperate measures. I mean, I can't say that I wouldn't.
There was a lot of the slick.
I can't. I'm one of those. I don't judge.
Talks me out of being a pirate.
It doesn't do anything to me. I'm still in. I mean,
so would you slick leg?
Sure. How long have I been out at sea? Give me 9 months. We're gonna shag a leg or two. But no, I would love to build a real live pirate ship. I'd probably just hire people to be on it. Homeless people probably who would be able to afford to do it with me, and we'll grease leg over there. I mean, that's okay.
If I'd been born 200 years ago, I think I'd be like a cowboy. Like it just seems like
totally cowboy.
Just like roaming the range. You don't really have a job.
It depends on what time frame you're in.
Yeah.
I mean, did pirates and cowboys exist at the same time?
Roughly, yeah.
No, they didn't.
I think pirates were more
cowboys.
Early 19th
I mean, there were pirates before America was settled, right?
Yeah, but it kept going into the 19th century.
Yeah,
I would be a ninja if I could.
Okay, that's even before then, though.
Yeah, that's like
we're all in different time frames. Like, of course,
yeah.
If I'm in ancient Japan. In 1400 BC, and it's ninja time, I'm ninja'd out, man. I would wear.
Was that Chinese or Japanese? Because I thought they were samurai. Huh?
They had both. They were actually enemies. Samurai and ninjas were enemies.
I've heard that's a myth.
And I can tell you where I learned that from, Wick. A Choose Your Own Adventure book.
I think that's a myth. I don't think they
not in this Choose Your Own Adventure movie.
He has a reference, Wick.
In this Choose Your Own Adventure book, you were a samurai at war with ninja tribes, which sucked because I really didn't want to be a samurai, but it had ninjas in it. When I was young, there were two things that I loved: pirates and ninjas. And don't ask me how they go together, but I love pirates and ninjas. And if ninjas had been on pirate ships,
I hate to be the bearer of the cold hard truth.
Don't do it.
They usually collaborated.
Really? There was a. Okay.
They did not fight against each other.
Okay.
However, on certain occasions, they fought against However, on certain occasions, they fought against each other during the War of something Asian in 1581.
Cool.
Yeah.
But
That's an age-old debate right there.
Yeah, it's always
Pirates
been
versus ninjas.
Yeah, I love pirates.
Ninjas would slaughter pirates.
Pirates or samurai? Pirates?
Oh no,
ninjas would slaughter
pirates.
Pirates. Are you saying that?
Well, pirates had
samurais and ninjas collaborated.
Yes.
Okay, I thought you were saying pirates.
No,
this got off the rails. This might be the best episode ever. I'm gonna erase everything in the middle and just do the show on this.
So yeah, I think I would be a samurai just so I could fight you.
Who, me?
In the one war in 1581.
Okay.
Yeah, samurais had no shot, dude. Ninjas, listen, ninjas had
stars out of nowhere.
They had ninjas.
I also think ninjas have been
grapplings
elaborated upon.
Let me tell you how much I love ninjas.
Maybe so.
I used to buy the ninja magazines in the 80s.
Me too.
Yeah,
I bought stuff. I bought ninja claws out of them.
I remember I had a friend in grade school. His name was Steven. I won't say his last name, but he had a ninja outfit. And he used to brag about it, like in third grade, like how he would sneak around his neighborhood in his ninja outfit. And I so desperately wanted one, but they were like, to get the whole outfit was like $100.
I had one.
You had to get the tabbies, which were the boots that had the slit between the big toe and the rest of the toes, so that you could.
I did not have those.
Rope. Yeah, Scott was wearing black tennis shoes, but you were supposed to have tabbies.
I had tennis shoes on,
so that you could.
He was wearing K-Swiss.
Some ruse.
Yeah, I would hide in the woods.
Pocket. Used to keep his lunch money in the secret zipper of the kangaroos.
That was a Halloween costume one year.
But yeah, to buy the mask and everything, like to buy a real one was like $100 for all the pieces, and I just didn't have it. And but I was always really jealous of that. But yeah, I used to buy the Ninja magazines, man, and have the posters on my wall. I used to watch all like American Ninja, and I can't remember what the guy's name that was like a
That's
big.
not the same thing.
What do you mean it's not the same thing?
American Ninja?
Well, there was a couple of them. There's like 5.
But that's just where they go over an obstacle course.
You're thinking about Jim Kita, dude. Jim Kita was
the reality show, game show.
No. There was a movie.
Yeah, I'm off base. It's clear now.
Okay, there's a collection of ninja movies from the 80s that you need to get yourself well versed in.
Oh, I've seen a lot of them.
I mean, ninjas could disappear. I mean, they would have smoke bombs that they would make out of robin's eggs, and they would put certain explosive materials in them, and when they would slam them on the ground, it would create smoke, and they would disappear.
You nerd.
Yeah, I know ninjas, dude. Listen,
I thought they were just these silver balls that you could buy through the magazines.
No, sir.
I thought the ninjas back in the ancient Japan were reading the magazines and they ordered them.
Poke a hole. Now these magazines were written by ninjas. You would poke a hole into the bird egg, dump all the yolk out, or you would eat the yolk because I would imagine it was probably protein enriched.
Okay,
and then you would fill that egg with certain explosives. And it would create a small bomb to allow you to escape. Because ninjas are not supposed to be seen. So when they're seen, they have to be able to escape. And so actually, I think pirates would probably beat ninjas because pirates had blunderbuss. And that's one hell of a weapon to go against because they used to put like silverware in those things.
But they're usually hungover and drunk and coming off of a sleep from a hungover sleep on a deck. That they swabbed first thing in the morning.
They used to like burn towns. I don't know. I love ninjas and pirates. I think that's where we need to end it.
I think ninjas get a better night's rest
than pirates do.
Yeah,
I think it was like, man. Listen, I think
makes them more acute.
Huh? I think it was a tough life on the pirate ship, man. I mean, I don't think it was. But you know what was interesting that I did discover in my research of pirates is that the captain did not have total authority. He did, but he didn't. He was actually elected by the people on the crew. And he could also be removed by the people on the crew.
Yeah.
The crew actually had all the power.
And like Blackbeard was only active for like a couple of years.
Blackbeard was well loved by his crew. A lot of the captains that were on pirate ships that were legendary, lasted a long time, were extremely good to their crews. That's how they stayed captain. Yeah, you'd have to, because they would absolutely, overrun you. You'd
Yeah.
have a mutiny.
Yeah.
Picked a really bad spot to have to do this.
That's okay, because we got to end up anyway. We got to wrap this show up.
Are we wrapping up? I'll just stay here.
We're wrapping up. I'm gonna give you each an opportunity to fumble through your thoughts. Wick, is there anything you wanted to close the show with?
Ninjas didn't use stars. I just read that.
Stop.
Horse shit.
Sometimes I think Wick is put on this planet just to anger me and just disappoint me constantly.
Just dash your hopes.
Yeah. I don't believe it, so that's fine. There's plenty of books that say that's not true.
Books that were written by ninjas.
Who do you think wrote the Ninja magazine, dude? It was ninjas it was like old ancient ninjas that got together and wrote articles. Glad you think that's real.
Hey.
What a joke. Anyway.
It was a bunch of nerds in Burbank.
Yeah, I think mine was called, the one I got was called Black Belt.
Let me tell you something. Nerds in Burbank don't know how to make a bomb out of a robin's egg. That comes from real Japanese traditional knowledge. Anyway, Scott, is there anything you have to say?
Oh, no, I'm ready to get into my gown and nightcap. Really tired.
Yeah, there you go.
Had a good time tonight. Love you guys.
Yeah, we had fun. I had fun.
Love your body, Larry.
I love ninjas and pirates. They give me a tingle.
All right.
There's some way you can combine the two.
I'll find a way. Maybe I'll make a movie, Pirate Ninjas. Can you write me a script for that, Wick?
No.
Okay. As always, love to my guys, Scott and Wick, for doing this with me. We had a lot of fun this week. We'll be back with something else. I don't even know how I'm going to edit this show, because I almost want to just cut out all the boring riffraff we had in the middle and just talk about pirates and ninjas, because I could do it all night. I want to thank everybody watching, listen. Catch us on Podbean, iTunes, Pandora, everywhere podcasts are being produced. We will be there. And I'm up behind by 2 episodes, so I'll get them recorded and put up there. But follow us. We have a lot of fun. We'll see you guys next week. Have a great one. Thanks, everybody.